Hi, everyone. Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. This is the Loshak in the Bag show for April 26th, Tuesday. He's Jimmy the Bag. I'm Peter Loshak. We do this every Tuesday. Of course, we got two legends on camera. We got a legend on the ones and twos and Jose Bouquet. We got like 60 legends in the comments section. I mean, it's hard enough to get one or two legends in the same room, let alone like 65. What a show we got here, Jimmy the Bag. You know what I'm saying? Legends. I don't use that word lightly. A little lightly. Yes. Okay, I do use it lightly, yes. But that doesn't mean I love all the people in the comment section. Don't love Jose Bouquet. It's a great time to be alive and handicapping all these sporting events, right, Jim?
It certainly is. This has been, I think, the best 2-week run probably ever had. It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when you're winning and cashing, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, all right, great. Jose's not a legend. You're not a legend. I'm not a legend. No one in the comment section's a legend, but we're all having a great time here, and that's what's really important. It's not about being a legend. It's about love. It's the other L word, right, Jim?
Maybe.
But I don't know what I'm saying here, Jimmy the Bag.
For me, I've caught up with all of the stats. Fell behind in San Antonio. Actually, fell behind about a week before San Antonio, leading up to San Antonio. So being caught up, it feels like I've filed my taxes after not filing them for 5 years. So that was a weight on my shoulders. Cashing the Raptors, the money line yesterday at plus 275 was it was. I mean, you always dwell on like some of the negatives. By the way, Peter Loshak coming off a 5-0 board sweepage in NBA last week. So you are now in the black in NBA.
You know me going back a while, Jimmy the Bag, and you know that I am at best a coin flip in the NBA, maybe a little bit of a fade during the regular season. But I've always told you, the playoffs is a completely different animal. NHL's the same way, although now I'm good in the regular season NHL as well. But the NBA, and I can tell you a little bit why. The reason is because in the NBA regular season, there's so many games. You know that the players and the coaches and the teams talk about how they can't give 100% every game. So I guess my big flaw in the regular season in the NBA, and some people can do it perfectly, is I find it hard to estimate the likely effort and motivation of the teams on most nights. But in the playoffs, it's much easier to do. They're usually going to come 100% with 100% effort. And for my approach to handicapping at least the NBA, that's a huge help. You know what I'm saying, Jim?
Yes, it makes a ton of sense. It makes a ton of sense.
Which is not to say that some people don't have a great read on how the NBA goes in terms of motivation and effort day in and day out. And that's why those people kill the NBA. And congratulations to them, like Sammy Comer, some of the other guys you work with, right, Jim?
Well, yes. We work with such phenomenal NBA cappers. Our guy, Dutch Boy Fresh, who works with me every Thursday, is having the best season-long record of my career of any guest that's ever been on this show. It's unbelievable. I'll pull it up right now here where my low bag stats. Here we go. Low bag stats for everybody here on one page, which is going to make things easier for me. Dutch right now on this show with official picks is 49 wins and 26 losses, 65.3%. plus 21.68 units in ROI, plus 28.91%, average line minus 105. Durrell, who does Wednesdays and Fridays, 85 and 63, 57.4%, plus 17.75 units, ROI plus 11.99%, average line minus 103.
That is phenomenal. Phenomenal is another word that I use lightly a lot, but in this case, I am not. That is extremely impressive. Holy crap.
So it's no surprise to me that we have both entered the land of profits. I'm now plus 5.78 units on the season after being down 23 units. In NHL, Pete, though, it all started 2 weeks ago when we were all over the Sabres against the Leafs. At that point, I'm 25 wins and 8 losses, and I'm up, 19.17 units in the last 2 weeks.
That is extremely impressive, and we can talk about this a little bit because this point of the regular season in the NHL, very interesting. Actually, today and the next few days is sort of its own little animal where, teams are playing for positioning in the playoffs with both in it. But these last few weeks, it's an interesting time in the NHL season. I love it because I feel like you really can estimate teams, likely motivation for every game. I forgot what it was. San Jose won a big game recently, and they're terrible, but that was a great spot for them. I'll look at the schedule and remind myself of the individual games. But yeah, these last 2 weeks of the NHL regular season are, in my opinion and experience, and I did these past few weeks, filled with great betting opportunities if you just follow along with the surfing of the regular season, and you can figure out which teams are likely to show up, which teams aren't, which teams care, which teams don't. And again, we already talked about it, that a lot of highly touted prospects also come up in these past 2 weeks of the NHL season. So yeah, what are your general handicapping thoughts for people who are taking notes and writing down every word you say for next year?
Well, this has just been the most difficult NHL season of my career, and being down in what I thought and what I still think is my best sport, capping, and being down the way I was, just alarmingly down. I was very tough on my psyche and very tough emotionally. So I don't know if I can give out any year-long sort of,
just like this point in the season.
This point in the season, you nailed it. You nailed it. There's spots where you see teams that are trying and teams that aren't trying. I've got 5+ lines in NHL today, and I love my card. And this is the first time the last 2 weeks where I've been so confident on certain bets and seeing them cash. I'm so excited that we have the opportunity to cap this 31 game card. I'm so excited that I get to work with you and all these cappers in the chat, Pete. I say we give a shout out to some of these guys and then fire away.
Hell yeah! All right.
Let's give a big shout out to Fap Win in the house, coming to us from Australia. He says, please tell me my cash cow from last season still his job. My man, Fultonavich. Sadly, no. He is a free agent. You could hire him if you'd like over in Australia. He is a free agent, Mike Fultonavich, at this point. Fat Bab Win betting a parlay. Houston team total over 4.5 with Vancouver money line in the NHL. I'm also on the Canucks. I'm on the puck line at plus money as well. There's Viper NB in the house. He's on Dodgers first 5 -1/2, White Sox first 5, Padres first 5 already locked in. I have not made any bets in MLB. So Pete, I got down to a point where we both had bad Tuesdays last week. I got to a point where I was in bad shape already, and I just went right back to what I did last year, where I had my first successful season publicly, and so I'm just keeping everything. All these boxes have to be ticked; they all have to correlate, or I won't move on it. It would have been another winning night last night if the Cardinals hadn't have let go of that 2-0 lead in the ninth, which bothered me enormously. But the huge casher on the Raptors takes care of all of those issues. Great to see your action, Viper. I would have bet Padres first 5 -1/2 already, but there was a slight red flag that we'll talk about during the show, which is what has kept me off it. But I completely get it. We have a couple pitching matchups today who are seeing the teams again for the second time in 5 days. So that adds a nice little wrinkle to our capping. Mark Schillingberg in the house says St. Louis Blues getting plus money versus Colorado, looking like a smash spot. I bet it. I bet the Blues at plus 145. I do not care that Colorado's lost 5 straight. I do not expect them to turn it around right here. I do not think it's important for them to turn it around right here. Yes, they have to get Landeskog back on the ice, Rantanen back on the ice, Devon Taves back on the ice. But I do not think it's important for them to do it here. And I do think it's very important for the Blues. So I'm on that plus 145. Sammy Calmer in the house, Mr. Vape. We got Real Deal Prime, Nut Flush, Allen, Birdie. Birdie is on the New York Rangers and some other looks today. And I did add the New York Rangers. I agree with them. I added the New York Rangers about an hour and a half ago. We'll go over all these games. And we got to be quick because we have 13 NHL, 15 MLB, and 3 NBA. So a couple more shouts out. We got Canadian Capper in the houses. Look at these nerds. Yeah. Yes, it feels good. It feels good to be a nerd. There's nothing I'd rather be a nerd in than sports capping. It just fucking brings so much joy to my life. El Dorado, Custodian, ready to get to work. Birdie, Amsterdam. What else? Teflon, Dawn, ready to get to work. Ryan Kozlowski, Roger, that. Jay Peasy for Sheezy. We got Bong Yadong in the house. Jeff Shahadi, all these great cappers ready to get to work. Von Polo, ready to go. Eric Jones, Richie Rich. Oh, by the way, Richie Rich has been back in the chat. Pete, you'll remember him from his great success in NHL when we were down in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
He's been back in the chat for the last week and a half and destroying. like absolutely
Awesome.
catching nonstop. So Richie Rich,
I'm just looking for that nerd comment. I love nerd comments, but I can't find it. Where are you seeing that?
this is it was early from our guy
Okay,
Canadian.
go ahead. Keep with the shout outs, and I'll look for that, and then we're ready.
It was in capitals. In capitals. Look at these nerds. There's Big Show picks in the house. Great to have Big Show doing such a great job behind the scenes here. Man, I'm pumped. I'm pumped up. So thank you guys all for joining us. Dennis Garcia, Dabby Cab opened up his account. We had back-to-back spectacular experts in baseball. We had Connor Mack on Wednesday go 4-1, but plus no, it was just 3-1, but 2 big money line cashers plus money. So he went 2.63 units. Then Dabby Cab came on the Thursday show, went 5-1. So we've had a lot of great work done on the show, and I'm looking forward to try to continue that going. There's Bruce Shad, Jake Burns, Dave Burke. Man, I'm excited. You ready to get to work?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. God, every time we do a show, it's like there's so much handicapping, so much intensity. And then after the show's done, I relax. I think of all these jokes I would have liked to have made. But in the time, I just like focused entirely on capping. Let's get into it, Jimmy the Bag.
Let's get to work, Pete. We start in NHL. We start with Panthers, Bruins. Take it away, my friend.
Yeah. Florida, 13 straight wins, and I should have known that Tampa Bay was going to beat them in their last game. I'm doing okay in NHL, so I'm not complaining, but that was one that I missed. And the question is this a spot where Florida wants to bounce back? At this point in the season, does Florida really care about this game? Do they really have anything to prove? They've had an awesome regular season. They're looking forward to the playoffs. Okay, so they got beaten in their last game by Tampa Bay. Are they going to be like, we have to come back here and prove ourselves? Maybe, because the more I'm realizing it, when you have a team, and we'll talk about this in the Calgary game, when you have a team that's just filled with like awesome players, Jimmy the Bag, when they come out for a game, sometimes there's down spots, but even if the game means nothing, all right, maybe for a couple minutes, they'll be like, this game doesn't really mean anything. And then their professionalism takes over, and then they pretty much want to kick ass anyway. So maybe that's the case here with Florida and Boston. I'll tell you what, Boston is a team that I'm a little bit down on. They have great defensively. They have great goaltending, a little bit questionable offensively. In the past few weeks, I have faded them a few times successfully and faded them a few other times, I think, unsuccessfully, although they did get a win. I can't remember the game where I bet on them. This spot, I don't know if Florida really cares about this game, but at this low of a line, even though it doesn't matter to them, I have to think that Florida might be a play.
This game makes me uncomfortable, quite uncomfortable. Bobrovsky going up against Yolmark. Florida power play 24.2%, penalty killing 79.3%. Boston power play 20.8%, penalty killing 81.5%. Panthers had their 13-game winning streak snapped in that 8-4 loss at home to Tampa on Sunday. Sammy Reinhart scored twice. Spencer Knight did not look good. Reinhart, 15 power play goals. One of my favorite players. One of my favorite hockey playing families. Maybe my favorite hockey playing family, in fact. And 15 power play goals. I have him in the hockey pool. Made me look great. Barkov, Duclair, Huberdeau, all of 30 goals as well. Boston comes in off their second straight win, 5-3 Montreal on Sunday. Haula and Bergeron scored twice. So the Bruins have a 3-point lead over Washington for the number one wild card spot, and it's important. You really want to play Carolina or New York, possibly, but very likely Carolina. You really want to play Carolina and not Florida. So I think Boston has a reason to fight here. Florida opened up at -125, moved to -120. Mm-hmm. And from a total perspective, it's sitting at 6.5, -130 to the over. I guess I like the under 6.5. I think that probably is at +110. That wasn't on my radar earlier. Richie Rich's Florida revenge spot, best Florida line you will ever see.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that Florida, and I'll tell you, I actually did bet this one on the overnight line, partially because I was thinking Florida was a good bet, also because I got a great line. I got Florida -1 at +140, Jimmy the Bag. I found that one at one of the books I have. Now it's, it's +143 at Pinnacle. Look at that. Wow, so money coming in on Boston, huh?
Yeah, I get it, too. I can understand Richie Rich saying that it's the revenge spot, but I just don't see Florida caring very much here.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not saying that they don't care. Boston really does care. Now, Pasternak's being hurt. Boston's not scoring on the power play.
Yeah, what's your take on Boston in general? I have them as maybe like a fade in the playoffs. No?
I mean, the matchups are so tough.
Right,
So,
and that's what I'm saying. Like against the top teams, I think they're going to have a tough time scoring, and their defense won't be enough.
Dennis says, why would Boston care about facing Florida's poverty defense in the playoffs? You know, going into Sunrise, I think it's going to be difficult to win games, Dennis. And Ekblad's going to be back, and I can understand the idea, and that's an idea that can make you a lot of money in the playoffs. So I would never, tell you.
All right, look, Jim, I might eat a loss here, but I'm seeing at Will Hill, Florida Panthers -1 at +145. I think you can make that official. If it loses, that's fine, but I can't take that.
Give me that again.
Florida -1 +145.
Panthers -1 at +145. I guess I have a little bit of interest in that under 6.5 at plus money.
Yeah,
I'll put it here with some question marks on it. I have a little bit of interest on it. Jose, can you look? I know that I've fought back to the best of my abilities, but can we? Staring at my NHL record is like I'm just getting angrier and angrier as I stare at it, and I understand that we want to be as transparent as possible on this show, regardless if it's embarrassing or not. And I wanted you to put up all the records after I worked so hard on them, but it's making me fucking livid. So thank you for that. Red Girl slap that ass play today is the under
in Boston, Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me too, and I was definitely leaning that way. Boston's just not a very strong offensive team in general, right?
I don't know if that's true. I guess what has surprised me is how important Pasternak is to the power play, because I still had this thought that Marchand is so magical. You got Bergeron winning the face-offs and setting things up. But Pasternak is the sniper on that power play, so I was a little surprised at that. But I the more we talk about it, the more I'm interested in the under 6.5. But let's move on. Let's not hum and haw. Pete is on the board. Pete is on the board.
And before we end NHL, I might add on Boston team total under 3.5 at -132. We'll see.
I like it. And Rich says that's not a max bet, just an angle that he's using. Birdie saying caution on the under. I agree with the caution on the under.
Yeah.
But if the Panthers aren't fully locked in, then their offense won't be fully locked in. I do not think that Boston's going to light up the scoreboard. And especially after Spencer Knight's poor performance, I expect Bobrovsky to kind of right the ship in net. But you're right. Absolutely. Guillermo Zertucci says Derby is less than 2 weeks away. Big Show says 9 days to get his Derby bankroll up. And we'll be live all day Friday and Saturday. All day Friday and Saturday with horses. All right, Pete, let's roll on. Devils, Senators.
Devils and the Senators. Yeah, New Jersey really slumping, lost a bunch, although, their recent losses were at home. And, a lot of times these bad teams, they're just terrible at home and then significantly better on the road. They did have a 5-game road trip before their recent losing. That was much better. And Ottawa, all season long, more often than not, they've been a good bet, either as a big underdog or on their team total over. Here they're a small favorite at home at the end of the year. New Jersey, I know that they had some non-COVID illness running throughout the team. My first thought is, is this a bounce back for New Jersey? I doubt it. Do they care about maybe? Then again, they are professional athletes, just like what I said in the first segment. My first thought is to lean Ottawa as a small favorite. That
was my first thought too, and I almost bet it. What stopped me was the fact that they were, slight favorites. I mean, you're betting on a favorite, but I stopped myself expecting Hischier to come back, Jesper Bratt to come back from this non-COVID illness, this flu that's been going through the team, and that Mackenzie Blackwood was going to be in that. And what was that going to do to the team? Was it going to galvanize the team? Is he going to? I mean, they've had such questionable goaltending, and he hasn't been very good this year. 9-9-3, 3.29 goals against average, 94 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Forsberg has been good. New Jersey comes off their third straight loss, 3-0 at home versus the Red Wings on Sunday. Had I have known that I didn't, I only made one move on Sunday, and it was the Capitals, and I thought that was going to be another casher. They were up 3-1, with 12 minutes left in the game and lost in the shootout. But this was a gift. New Jersey's been outscored 11-4 since that impressive 3-2 win at Vegas. So you could tell that this flu bug really affected them.
Mm-hmm.
They had 36 shots on goal over their last 2 games. They only put up 17 shots on goal in that 3-0 home loss to Detroit. The thing about Ottawa here is they're coming in off their 3rd straight win, and they haven't won 4 in a row in 5 years. They haven't won 4 in a row since 2017. I imagine that's going to give DJ Smith a lot of bulletin board material here. Slatsy says, really like the sense here, especially if Hischier is out. Blackwood's confirmed for the Devils. I expect Hischier to be in. I really do. Brady says it's a stay away game. No way I can bet sense at minus 145. And so far this year, Pete, you've probably been here for some of them. I've taken the Senators on as a favorite, and it's blowing up in my face.
Yeah.
Richie Rich says fade Blackwood last start January 19th. I would agree with that. But the goaltending's been so bad. It's been so bad in New Jersey. So I just think that maybe having Blackwood back there might give the team some confidence. North Ender says sends minus 140 for a reason. I get it. So no move for me here. North Ender's on the sends minus 1 at plus 115. And Jenkins, my guy D Jenkins, series to go 6 games plus 500. Great job, man. Great job. So I'm not moving on it.
All right. I'm an inch away from taking Ottawa minus 1 to plus 120, and I think I did bet that one, but I guess I'll pass for now as far as an official play.
I get it, though. I get it. I just the Mackenzie Blackwood being back there is tricky.
I actually did bet it. I got plus 130. Not bad.
Oh, nice. Yeah. No, I like it.
All right, move on.
Picks. Yeah, let's move on. Razor sharp picks in the house. Let's move on. Yes, Columbus, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, this one it was a pass for me, and I don't know. I can understand why someone might think that that Tampa Bay would be the play here. The question is just how motivated are they? Columbus, got a nice win last out, but most of the time they're losing. So, when you look at this, Tampa Bay just looks so much better. So it's Tampa Bay or nothing. But at this point in the season, can you really justify taking a team at minus 350 or whatever? And not that long ago, Tampa Bay did have a run of multiple losing games. So pass for me.
I didn't know. Sammy Comer letting us know that Zach Werenski is back. How can Tampa Bay be motivated after they just showed everybody that they can turn it on like a switch? Third straight dominating win over a playoff team. They beat Florida at Sunrise with Florida on a 13-game winning streak, 8-4. Now, it helped that Spencer Knight was in goal. They've scored 22 goals in their past 3 games, wins over the Leafs, Predators, and Panthers. They've scored 36 goals over their last 6 games. Kucherov is, he's just so good, and he just turns it on when he wants to. And Stamkos having a year like he's had, 97 points. I would not have. Stamkos and Johnny Hockey having these spectacular years. It's so good for hockey, and I did not expect either of them to be 100-point scorers this year. Victor Hedman having another Norris Trophy-type season, 20 goals, 61 assists, 81 points. But you beat these playoff teams in games that mean a ton, and now what? Now you're going to step up against Columbus, and Columbus snapped their 4-game losing streak with a 5-2 win at home over Edmonton on Sunday. I felt very uncomfortable for Edmonton in that spot, but I didn't have the balls to bet Columbus. Bjorkstrand, 3 points. Voracek, again, stepping up with 3 assists. He's got 59 points this year. I love the way he's just kept his head down and played hockey instead of whining about being on this shit hockey team. They lose defenseman Adam Boqvist to injury, but Werenski's back, says Sammy Comer, which is a big deal. So, Laine, Boone Jenner, Tessier, all out, all remain injured. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with this game. Puzzler says, doesn't Tampa Bay still have to lock down home ice advantage? Not really. They're pretty much there. And it wouldn't surprise me if they still win this game. I believe that they have that 3-point lead with the game in hand. Let me just check it out very quickly here. They have 3-point lead on Boston, 3 games left. So I expect them to still win this game. I just don't want anything to do with the minus 400. So I'm off on this.
Okay. You want to move on, Jim?
I do. I definitely do. Shout out to Rocky Menichetti. What a great guy. He hung out with us in Vegas back in the IFBC days. And what a great guy, Rocky. Much love to you, my friend. And thank you for joining us. Yes, let's move on to Hurricanes, Rangers. And this is my first bet on the board.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm assuming you're on the Rangers, which is what I was thinking. But I was just like, it's similar to the Florida game. It's just the Carolina as a dog. It makes me nervous. I know they're having goalie issues, but this guy at Kochetkov, he's been playing okay. I was looking at that. I was like, Kochetkov, who the fuck is that? I was like, well, I know Jimmy the Bag probably knows who that is. I saw the Rangers at minus 121 on the overnight line. I was tempted to take it, but I held off because I wanted to see what we all had to say about it. Now it's gone down. It looks like money's coming in on Carolina. I'm seeing like minus 115, minus 113. I guess game matters for positioning, but both are in the playoffs, so it's not like that important. I guess, yeah. I didn't take the Rangers, and I was thinking about the Rangers team total over as well, maybe at 2.5. I guess. You think Carolina's just not going to show up for this one, Jim?
I don't. They don't need to win this game to win the division,
right?
And the Rangers just faced Carolina in New York, and remember that was last Tuesday, I believe.
Yes,
and because I was very uncomfortable with anybody backing the Rangers here. The market was telling us at that point that the Hurricanes were going to step up, and they certainly did in that 4-2 victory. Billy Friedrich, I expect Ranta to be in net here. I don't think it'll be Kochetkov, but I don't think they would throw him into the fire. I think that, if Freddie Anderson's not ready to go, that it'll be Ranta in net in the first game of the playoffs. Now, look, I could be wrong here. I just think there's an opportunity for Shesterkin to step up. I think this will be a comfortable victory for the Rangers. In fact, I don't think this is – there's just so much on the line here for the Rangers and nothing on the line here for the Hurricanes. Let me just take a quick look at the remaining schedule. So Carolina's up 4 points, but the Rangers have a game in hand. And let's just look at the last two games for the Hurricanes. And I believe they have the regulation wins as well locked in. Let's just grab this very quickly. The final two games. They have one more game at home versus New Jersey. And they win that game and they win the division. So I don't see any concern to beat the Rangers here. They just did it. And you know what? They haven't been playing very well. They've been squeaking out victories. I'll go over
Carolina, you mean?
Yeah, Carolina.
I have them as a team also similar to Boston to maybe fade in the playoffs. No?
Yeah, I don't believe in them really here, especially with the Freddie Anderson injury. So they have the regulation wins over the Rangers. So, yeah, they don't need this game. I think this is I took Rangers on the -1 line, too.
Right.
I got them at plus 143, I believe. This is a spot where the Rangers need to do this here. Hurricanes come off their fourth straight win, 5-2 at the Islanders on Sunday night. Kochetkov has looked good. He's looked good. This is another part of the reason why they probably got rid of Nedeljkovic, because they like Kochetkov long term. Carolina has either trailed or been tied in the third period over their last three games. Rangers had their 4-game winning streak snapped in a 3-1 loss to the Bruins on Saturday. They haven't allowed a goal in their last two home games. Yeah. I think this is a very comfortable, easy win for the Rangers. And for whatever reason, it wasn't on my initial card. I saw Birdie on it, and I was like, you know what? Birdie's right. He's right. Mm-hmm. Slatsy's on the Rangers -117 and says can wrap up a division with a win here, but I think the Rangers show up here. I do too. I really do. And by the way, I did copy and paste Slatsy's action. Rangers money line, Canucks team total over 3.5, Sens money line, Blues money line, Preds Flames over 6 for Slatsy. But yeah, I'm on the Rangers confidently here on the -1 line.
Okay, you can double me up on this one. I'll take Rangers -1 plus 150. That's at Will Hill right now. And the bet I like a little bit more, I think, is Rangers team total over 2.5 -145. That's the current line at Heritage. So I'll double up -1 plus 150 and team total over 2.5 -145. If they win 3-2, and I only get a push on the -1, and would have had a win on the money line. That's fine. I'll get the
Richie Rich also liking this, like Shesterkin revenge spot. Looks like it is Spud's birthday today. I believe he's saying happy birthday to himself, I'm guessing. Spud is new here in the chat. If it is your birthday, Spud, happy birthday. Let us know what number it is. But let's roll on, Pete. We got a huge baseball card ahead of us. Oilers, Penguins up next.
You got my two. You got my two bets on that one, right?
Yes, I got Rangers -1 at plus 150 and Rangers team total over 2.5 -145.
All right, Pittsburgh.
But Billy Friedrich did find you a better line. Found that at -140.
Thank you very much, Billy Friedrich. Okay, you ready to go, Jimmy the Bag?
Yes, let's roll. Oilers, Pens. Let's do it.
Pittsburgh lost to Philly last game. I did have Philly in that one, and the team total over big. Yes, I did. Pittsburgh is a team that I think is a good team, but a little bit overvalued. I might be looking to fade them in the playoffs for sure. Maybe more so than Carolina. Maybe probably more so than Boston as well. Edmonton lost in their last game. Before that, though, they had been winning. So I did already bet the Edmonton team total over on this one. I kind of like the over also, and maybe Edmonton, but definitely I'm liking Edmonton team total over. What do you think about that?
I can't help but just remember the good old days when this was the matchup of all of our dreams, when Gretzky and Lemieux would face each other, and that was the first thing I thought about. I just would wax poetic while I was looking just at these two teams playing against each other. Mike Smith has really stepped it up here, and that last loss that the Oilers just had was with, I believe it was with Kakkonen goal. I believe it was. Oilers had their 4-game winning streak snapped in that 5-2 loss at Columbus on Sunday, and Darnell Nurse not going to be in the lineup here. He's such a big piece to the puzzle, and it's possible that they get Puljujarvi back. It really helps size-wise for that. Casey DeSmith has looked very good, and he's going to have the opportunity to star for the Penguins in the playoffs if he's capable of doing that. Both teams are coming in off surprising losses against non-playoff teams. You mentioned that Philly-Pittsburgh spot. Beautiful bet there. Pens are clinging to third place in the Met and could still fall into a wild card spot. Edmonton's still trying to lock down second place, but I expect them to get it. Let's just see what line history we have here in the Oilers-Pens game. We've had Oilers opening up at plus 135. They're at plus 125 now. I don't want them without Darnell Nurse on the ice. I thought that the Oilers were kind of set here. Let's just make sure that is the case. They have a game in hand, and they're only 2 points up. Wow. The Kings now healthy are now just 2 points back of that second. So the Oilers do need to win. Darnell Nurse must have a real injury if he's not able to play in this important of a game. And then the Pens are up a point, and the Capitals have a game in hand. So both teams need to win this game. It is
okay.
Yeah,
I'm convinced. I guess I'll pass on this one then.
Richie Rich is on Edmonton team total over 2.5 all day. Brady says I like Pittsburgh Nurse out. And we saw earlier in the year, it makes such a difference. I see this as a low scoring, get this game over quick as possible type of game. Both teams just want it over. Very, very interesting. What is that over at right now? If I wanted to bet at 6.5 at plus 110 to the under, that's crazy. That's way too high, isn't it?
You think so? Okay.
I mean, that's just way too high. This wasn't on my radar, but that just seems far too high here in a game that means something to both these teams. So I'll keep looking at this more, but that under 6.5 seems to be the play. I mean, I don't think the Penguins want to go rush for rush with McDavid and Draisaitl. So, and then they have Malkin back, so their power play will be improved. Interesting. Take it away, buddy.
I know who McDavid and Draisaitl are. They're very important, but who the fuck is Darnell Nurse? Who is that?
Oh God, he's spectacular. It's such an important defenseman. His sister is the best Canadian basketball player in our country, Kia Nurse. But Darnell Nurse is the. I would say he's more important than Draisaitl.
So when a guy like him is out, a defenseman, does that just impact like their likelihood of winning, or does that also reduce their expected scoring, in your opinion?
Well, he's the guy who plays 28 minutes a game. I would expect that if Darnell Nurse is not available in the first round of the playoffs, they lose to the Kings.
Okay. I'm off this one then for the official play. I already bet the team total over, so I guess I'm just going to ride with it. But
I like this look from North Ender. Bouchard over 2.5 shots on goal. Says he's hit it 9 of 10 with Nurse out. Oh, sorry, hit it 9 of 10, and with Nurse out, seeing even more ice time. That's very that was not my radar, and it is now. But let's keep rolling. Next up, Islanders Caps. Yeah, the Islanders. For a while, they were playing with some heart. Right now, they're kind of like just mailing it in. Lost 5 in a row. But Ovechkin's out. I believe he's out, right? Now, I may not know who Darnell Nurse is, but I damn sure know who Ovechkin is. And that's a huge loss, obviously,
for Washington. The question is just, I don't know. Are the Isles going to, surprisingly come in here and play tough, or are they just skating out the season? What do you think? It's also the first of a home and home.
I think they're just skating out the season. But one thing that does happen is when you play in divisional games, you seem to care a little more. The Hurricanes, aren't really, even though they're in the division, they're not a known rival of these teams. I wonder if just playing against Washington will spark something in the Islanders. And also, it's interesting that Birdie's on the Islanders here. And so that took me by surprise. This legitimately is a game I want pretty much nothing to do with. The Islanders open up at plus 165. They're now at plus 155. This total opened up at 6 minus 115. These are bet 365 market moves. Opened up at 6 under 6 and minus 115. 10-cent move towards the under here. Islanders coming off their 5th straight loss, 5-2 at home versus the Hurricanes on Sunday. It was funny. I was so confident in the Sabres to beat the Islanders. And I was like, why would I be so confident against Sorokin? And it's clearly the Sabres are trying hard, and I don't know if the Islanders are. Washington comes in off their second loss in 3 games. It was tough for me to watch. My girlfriend's a big Leafs fan, and she knew I was on the Caps, and it was 3-1 with 12 minutes left, and she wants me to succeed and make money, but there was a little smirk when the Leafs came back. But even with that loss, the Capitals are 16-5-3 since March 1st, and a win is I'm not on the same page as Dennis here. I think that you would badly want to play Carolina over Florida in the first round. I think that is extremely important, and so I think that the Capitals are. So how does that work? Let's just pull up the standings here very quickly again. Like Boston is sitting on 103 points, so they're not going to catch Boston. They can only catch Pittsburgh. So it's a big game for them. But let's hear what Birdie's take is because that's very interesting. He says, my best bet tonight's New York Islanders money line. Caps are in stay healthy mode. This Caps team can tank as good as anyone. We've seen it year after year. For the Caps, they have to stay healthy. New York Islanders, I think, get this easily. And Rich like in the first period over.
I was thinking Islanders team total over, and I was thinking Islanders first period maybe. And you know what? I'll make both of those official plays. If they lose, every bet comes with some trepidation. I'm seeing at Pinnacle right now, Isles team total over 2.5 plus 113. So I'll make that one an official pick. Isles over 2.5 plus 113, and first period I'm seeing plus 140 at Pinnacle. That's not a bad line there at a bunch of places, plus 140. I'll make that official as well. I'll take Isles first period plus 140.
You are locked in. First period, Isles plus 140. Team total over 2.5 plus 113. I'm not going to be moving on this game.
Okay.
Let's move to Red Wings Maple Leafs, and I would not be surprised if we have the same bet on this game.
Let me see. Red Wings, Maple Leafs. Let me find that's okay. Red Wings, Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs. Let me see. Yeah, this one actually, I was very scared of. I didn't bet it and didn't really consider a bet. I was thinking maybe Toronto, even at the huge line, maybe the under. I've definitely had a pretty good read on Detroit this year. We talked about it last show, and I think a few shows before. Overall, they're a subpar team, but they have some rookies with bright futures who are really playing tough, very talented, and they beat New Jersey last game. That was a big bounce back for them after a bad loss. They're a team that is definitely capable of getting a bounce back win after a bad loss, especially against a team like New Jersey. Again, they have some nice young players here, though. After the New Jersey win, I don't know. Toronto, they edged out Washington in their last game. This is a total pass for me. Something you like here a lot, Jim?
A lot. First bet I made today. This game means a ton to the Red Wings players.
Huh.
They get to play in Toronto, sold out Air Canada Center. This game means absolutely nothing to the Maple Leafs. Maybe Jack Campbell wants to get right. He's been better of late, so I don't think that is it. So I'm on the Red Wings +2 at plus 104. Wow. This is a chance for these young players to play in the center of the hockey universe against a team that couldn't care less. So, Maple Leafs finish up the regular season with a home game against the Bruins on Friday. and that doesn't even matter. So the Bruins, that's a look for the Bruins if they need to win that game for sure. Austin Matthews hasn't scored in any of the past 5 games, 58 goals. It seems like his teammates want him to get to 60. He doesn't really care. And this to me, there's Rod Zawacki in the house, and look at this 10-star back in action. Is the under 7 and leaves Detroit. I like that look.
That's what I was thinking.
I like that look. My only concern is if the Red Wings do go up, 3-1 or something. I'm interested in the Red Wings first period as well. I'm gonna see what the Red Wings first period is. My concern is
Billy Friedrich found Isles first period plus 146. So give me that one. 146.
Oh, beautiful. I will change the 140 to 146. You are in.
So this is a game. I was looking at this. I was like, the Red Wings got a bounce back win in their last game. I don't know if they care about this one, but you're saying they do, huh?
I love. There's a reason why the Sabres always beat the Leafs. Why the Senators beat the Leafs so often. There's a reason, because the Leafs don't care about playing these teams, and it means an enormous amount for the opposition. And this is a perfect situation in my estimation. I love Richie Rich's team total over 2.5. I don't want to triple up certainly on this game, but the first period interests me a great deal, whether that be a plus a half of minus 105 for the Red Wings, or if I just move to that team total over. I'm going to move on this a second way. Maybe that team total over is perfect. What is that team total over for me if I want it? Wow, 2.5 at plus 115. I think Richie Rich found it. I love that look, Richie Rich. I'm going to I like the first period too, but I don't want to triple up. So I'll make a decision over between that team total over 2.5 at plus 115 or the first period. I will do that. Birdie says this infuriates me. He says, you're 100% right on your assessment, but if the Leafs are ever going to get over the hump, they need to take these more seriously, but they won't. And he says, great look, Jimmy. This is my most appealing spot on the board. And notice that, let's just take, I know that we don't do this for NHL, and I like that we don't do it, but let's just see where the cash is on this game, because it hasn't moved 1 cent at Bet365. And if there's a lot of cash on Toronto, so listen, look at this. So 7% of the tickets, now there's only 4,000 tickets, 7% of the tickets money line are on the Red Wings and 55% of the cash. So, I mean, look, the betting public understands the situation. And Richie Rich says, want great value, Detroit money line regulation. Yeah, so I'm going to move further on this. But right now I have the Red Wings +2 at plus 104. That was the plus 1.5 at plus 150, the 2.5 at minus 140. Sort of a safe bet, but I've been looking at my +2s and the ROI is phenomenal. Yeah.
So you don't think they're going to get blown out here?
Oh, well, look, the Leafs, I don't. But the Leafs are capable of putting it on you. And that's the only thing that concerns me about the under is if the Red Wings are up 3-0, 4-0, and, Keefe is like, are you guys just not going to try out here? And then they start trying and they start scoring. But I completely get Rod Zawacki's look. I think it's a good look as well.
Wow. I'm seeing a pinnacle right now. Wings +2 at plus 133.
Wow. That's gorgeous.
You think they're going to come in here and really hang with them? Damn, I want to tell you. All right, now I'll make a decision at the end of the show. Let's move on.
Nufflashan said, "You remember, Jimmy? Last time I unloaded a nuke, it was Sabres playing the Leafs on the team total, and this is looking like another nuke."
Really? He's saying maybe possible nuke on Detroit team total over.
Yeah, and Slatsy says last game was 10-7 Leafs. That was a wild one. Yeah.
I guess I'm just worried because, I mean, if you look at what Detroit is obviously a team that has value in spots, but if you look at what they do, they get an impressive road win, and then they fall flat the next game. They beat Carolina 3-0, and then they got shut out by the Rangers. They beat Tampa Bay outright as a plus 400 dog, and then they got flattened by by Florida in their next game. So
nobody cares that the Red Wings won at New Jersey when they all had the flu. Nobody feels like, I don't think anyone in that dressing room is like, oh, big win for the boys. No, they beat up a sick fucking hockey team that has no hope of making the playoffs and was not a big win. And no, you want a big win? Go into the center of the hockey universe and beat the Leafs in front of a sold out Air Canada Center.
Okay. All right, let's move on, huh, Jim?
Yeah, let's roll.
Okay, what's our next game on the docket?
Flames Predators.
Yeah, this one, I don't know. I don't know. I know Nashville needs this, but Nashville is definitely, not an awful team. Saros is great, but they're just like an overvalued team that I've pretty much been looking to fade or pass in every game that they're involved in. And again, Calgary, really strong, a quality team. I don't know. I haven't checked closely how much Calgary needs this one or if they don't care. But again, they're just a much better team, much better coached, much more character, small road favorite. And my lean would be to Calgary here, Jim.
They're just such a good hockey team. Goodrow at 111 points. So just Kent Nilsson, whom we talked about, a week ago, has had more. The seldom talked about Kent Nilsson. One of the things I'm happy about with Goodrow going for 111 is that people can start looking up how incredible Kent Nilsson was. Kachuk, 101 points. Lindholm has 80. Mangiapane, 35 goals. This was a similar situation as a week ago, and I did not move on the Predators, and they didn't look that good. They won in a shootout in that game. Predators are in a 3-4-2 slump. The thing is, the Leafs have Sheldon Keefe coaching them. Sheldon Keefe has something to say. You can listen or you don't have to listen. Who fucking cares? But Daryl Sutter has something to say. You have to fucking listen. And if Daryl Sutter says, I don't want you guys playing like little bitches going to the playoffs, well, you better not play like a little bitch or you're not going to see the ice. So Daryl Sutter has this he creates this accountability that this Flames team desperately needed. And that's why I can understand not wanting to fade them here, even though the game is meaningless to the Flames. And it's so important to the Predators. Richie Rich has Nashville team total over 2.5 here. LJ from H-Town says Nashville's won 4 straight versus Calgary. Underdog, plus underdog price, 17-4 over the last 21. And Brady says this line's lined correctly. I see no value here at all anywhere. I love what Sutter said about goaltending. Teams that don't make the playoffs or lose in the first round play 2 goalies. I love God. He's just such a hell of a coach. He's the best coach in the league. He's got to be the best coach in the league. Just got to be. What he did with that Kings team is similar. The Kings team, you had all these guys that, were known to go out and drink and have fun, and he came in and just all of a sudden you win Stanley Cups. He's doing that here. Thank you, Spud. It was a huge deal to me, the biggest deal of any bet for me in a long time. So thank you very much for that, Spud. But I don't know how you don't bet Nashville at plus 120. I really don't. I mean, they need this game so bad. How do you not do it?
Because they just pretty much suck. Although, even with Calgary's strong play, one of their recent losses was at Nashville.
Yeah, I believe it was last Tuesday. I think we talked about the game on air because it was almost a similar situation where I was wanting to back Nashville, and you kind of put some fear into me, and then Nashville didn't play very well. I mean, how does Nashville not beat Calgary when it means everything to them and nothing to Calgary? I don't. And you're getting Nashville at plus 120. I mean, how do you not bet them here? I don't know how you don't bet them here.
Okay, I'll hold off then.
I think I might have to move on this shit Predators hockey team.
That really makes me nervous, Jimmy the Bag. In my experience, I found that betting bad teams against good teams because of the spot is usually a bad idea. You know what I mean?
I think calling them a bad team is probably not fair. It's a very tough division they play in, and I did not trust them at all this year. But the fact that they're knocking on the door of the playoffs, they were much better than I expected. And Roman Yossi's a spectacular defenseman, and although he did have an own goal in this last game, UC Saros has been at times so good this year. He seems to be slipping a bit. So I don't think it's fair to call them a bad team to succeed in that very difficult Central Division. But I hear exactly what you're saying, and it kept me off last Tuesday, and I hear what you're saying. So
all right,
I'll
move on.
Yeah, let's roll on. Next up, we have Coyotes Wild.
Yeah, this one, maybe you have a much better in-depth read on this game. I was just like, this is going to be a pass for me. Of course, Minnesota is awesome. Arizona, they've lost 10 in a row now, really not getting it done, although they played St. Louis tough in their last game, which is impressive, but just Minnesota is just way better. Can't take Minnesota at this line, but there's no way I'd take a shot with Arizona unless you gave me plus 1,500 or something in that range. Pass for me. What do you think, Jim?
I mean, I don't know how anybody. The Wild are playing so well, but look at these injuries. You have Zuccarello, Foligno, Greenway, Dumba, and now your captain Jared Spurgeon out. I understand that Kaprizov's playing at a very high level, and as soon as Zuccarello went down, Joel Eriksson Ek is playing out of his mind. Like, he's just playing so well. He's been I'm going to come second in my hockey pool, and it's because of Eriksson Ek stepping up late, and now have a 10-point lead with just 3 days left of the season, or 4 days left of the season. Fiala, what a god! I mean, how does Nashville just let this guy go? His point streak's 10 games. He's got 23 points in those 10 games. I mean, he's just a monster right now. Marc-Andre Fleury confirmed in net, says Billy. Richie Rich says the only angle would be over 6.5. And I would, the only move I would make would be the Coyotes +2 would be the only move I make. Even when the Blues were up, I was like, the Blues aren't going to keep their foot on the gas. Now, I didn't bet the Coyotes live, like the genius it would have taken to do that. But I was like, look, the Coyotes still have some fight in them, even though, they got hurt hard by injuries. And
they're still an NHL team. Don't forget that. Right.
I think that I bet you they take a lead. I bet you they take an early lead here. I bet you they, because it'll be sold out at the Xcel Energy Center, and that will, galvanize these Coyotes. I wonder what that first period would be.
Jim, let me ask you something. I mean, if I look at this too, if Minnesota has so many top guys injured and depleted and stuff, why is this line so massive? And if anything, has gotten bet even higher?
Well, the Wild are just keep putting it on teams. That Kraken game. That Kraken game was fascinating. You have Kraken up 2-0 after the first period. The Wild put up 6 unanswered goals. So I don't think there's a real need to put this on your card, and I probably won't. And maybe the fact that the Wild have all these injuries will have these other players step up, like we've seen with Joel Eriksson Ek. But it would be the Coyotes at a +2 at plus money if I was going to do anything here. Yeah. Brady says if you bet this game, you put a half unit on the Coyotes -1.5 for like a +700 score. Rod Zawacki says pass. Mike M says all those injuries. Arizona worth a small Hail Mary. And then Richie Rich looking at the over says Arizona 4 of last 5 have hit 7 goals. Nuffleshan says with these Arizona team totals are so low with these young guns playing, it's worth looking.
Right, except that you're like, man, what 1.5 at -160? How can they not get to 2? Well, their last 4 road games in a row, they scored 1 or fewer goals. And then their 3 road games before that, they scored 1 or fewer out of 2 of them. So out of their last 7 road games, they didn't get to 2 in 6 of them.
Wow, that's wild. That's a wild.
It's a shitty team right there, Jimmy the Bag.
Yeah, I did cash that season total under easily. Let's roll on. This is a fascinating game, Vegas-Dallas. I can't wait to break it down, and I've not moved on it. Why don't you take it away?
It is a fascinating game. I was thinking that I would not pull the trigger on it until I heard from you guys. But then, I was sitting there. I was like, well, what else am I going to do? I was like, I'm not going to, read about science. I'm not going to watch porn. All right, I'll pull the trigger on Dallas. I'll pull the trigger on it. Vegas, that was a pretty bad loss in the last game to San Jose, right? They needed that win. And San Jose is not an NHL juggernaut that just came back and blitzed them. I'm not a believer in that. I'm not really a believer. I'm not a believer in Vegas. I'm not a believer in Dallas either. They barely got by Seattle in their last game, but Seattle has that new guy. I think they're a little bit undervalued right now. And of course, we know Dallas excellent at home. It might have been the wrong decision, but considering the line, I thought Dallas at like -111 was worth a shot. And I took it. Huge playoff implications. I don't really like either team, but I think I like Vegas a little bit. I like Vegas a little bit less than Dallas, so I took Dallas at the low line.
Yeah, I get it. I need 3 points over these last 3 games from Dallas. By the way, Ryan C. saying Leafs need at least 1 point to clinch home ice in the first round. It's not a meaningless game for them. And the Lightning do have a home with Columbus and then at the Islanders to finish off the year. And there's some truth to what Ryan's saying because they don't want that Boston game to mean something. So there is truth. And thank you for that comment, Ryan, that does make ton of sense. So I've got the over 95.5 for the season, and it's a 2-unit bet. Like, it's not a huge, it's pretty important, actually. Let me take that back. It's pretty important that they get there for me. Let's just see the standings here quickly. I believe I thought it was 3 points over their last 3 games. Their final 2 games are a walk in the park, by the way. Dallas has a very nice schedule. Yeah, so they're at 93 points. I need 3 points to cash this over, and then they closed the season with 2 very easy games. But you don't want to let Vegas back into this, even though Lehner's done for the year. The Dallas closes the year at home against Arizona and Anaheim. Very, very, very easy for for Dallas to finish this off. Ottinger has got to step up here. Got to have some confidence going into the playoffs, or because at this point I would start Wedgwood over him. Vegas comes in off their 3rd loss in 4 games, 5-4 at home over the Sharks on Sunday. They're up 4-2, and they lose that game. 2 goals. They're up 4-2 with 2 minutes 11 seconds left, and Sharks come back. I mean, that's heartbreaking. But Vegas has the regulation wins tiebreaker over the Stars at 33-30. And Vegas also 4 points behind Nashville. So the Predators, if Colorado cares with that season-ending game, which they probably don't, I mean, they play Calgary. They also have Arizona too, which is going to help them a lot. But the Stars did not look good on that 3-game Western road trip. They lost 6-2 in Vancouver, 5-2 in Edmonton, 4-2 at Calgary. Then they came home and beat the Kraken 3-2. Now, they had plane issues. They didn't get in until 3 in the morning, and they came back from a 2-0 deficit, which was impressive. But I am just going to sit back and hope for my season total to cash. I have futures on Dallas that I've just counted as losses for the conference and for the cup.
I guess I made a mistake. I got him at minus 111 on the overnight line, and it's definitely gotten bet in Vegas's direction. And people are talking about how this is like a playoff game, which had me thinking about the first period under as well. I haven't bet that one yet. What do you think about first period under?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, the problem is that I don't trust either of these goalies, Logan Thompson and Jake Ottinger. That's the problem. So, yes, and the Knights are playing pretty fast-paced hockey right now. It's Dallas who isn't scoring. If it's not Robertson, Pavelski, and Rupi Hintz scoring, then Dallas isn't scoring.
Yeah.
They're not getting anything from Radulov, Ben, Sagan. They're getting a tiny bit from Gurianov.
Birdie says Stars a different team at home. I mean, definitely their record shows that. I'm going to pass on this one, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely pass on this one. I've got the team total, so I'm just going to sit back there. Mark says, how stupid is DeBoer trading away Marc-Andre? I mean, he's not the general manager, but I don't like DeBoer at all. But the Vegas for trading away Marc-Andre Fleury and putting everything in Lehner's hands, now they're not going to make the playoffs with a fall from grace. I'm happy they're not. They should never have fired Gerard Gallant, and it was just too bad because McPhee sure did a spectacular job putting this team together in that first season. But yeah, I'm off this spot. Let's keep rolling.
Okay, next one, St. Louis, Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know about this one, baby. I mean, Colorado, they've lost a bunch of games in a row. 3 of them were on the road, though. I don't even remember what I've been betting in these Colorado games, but I did expect them to be, a good fade. I think I did fade them. I just can't say that for certain. St. Louis, winning most games, right? They've won 12 out of their last 13. So you look at this, you're like, damn, St. Louis is that big of a dog. I don't know. At some point, Colorado is gonna say, all right, we have to prove we can win a game here before the playoffs start. Now they're at home after having lost 4 in a row. Total pass for me, but I'm sure a lot of people in the comment section, and maybe even you, Jimmy the Bag, think there's a great play here.
Yeah, I love the Blues here. There's just the Avalanche have just no reason to show anything. We're almost at MLB for everyone jumping on here. Big MLB card that Pete and I will break down here in a second, but the I don't care that Avalanche are losing games. It didn't stop. I didn't take Winnipeg against them, but I did fade them the game before that very confidently. Who cares? Yeah, the Avs are going to get Landeskog back. They need him to play 1 game at least. Knee surgery on March 10th, and he has been skating. Rantanen has non-COVID illness. I mean, do you even want him around the other players? I mean, he's probably better now. Devon Taves stayed home, so Devon Taves is probably back in the lineup, but who cares? The Avs this St. Louis Blues team cares very much, and we've seen this team go on a run like this and win the Stanley Cup. And third straight win, 6-3 at Anaheim on Sunday. And Anaheim won the first period. Getzlaf's last game. I don't know why Getzlaf is not playing these last two games on the road, by the way. I mean, you wouldn't. It wouldn't even be a question whether I'd be playing the last two games of my career. I mean, who cares if they're not at home? I don't get it. I don't just what the fuck? Why are you playing the last two games? Blues have won 3 straight. They're 14-0-2 since March 26th, and that Thomas Buchnevich Tarasenko line is just monstrous. 30 goals, 49 assists, 79 points over these past 16 games, and so I do not think the Avalanche care, and I'm on the Blues money line, and I wouldn't say I'm ridiculously confident in it, but how do you not bet it at this point?
I guess because, I'm looking at this. Obviously, the down spot in the schedule, right? So Colorado, they lose 4 in a row, but 3 of those were on the road. You know what I mean? And I understand that a team has motivation at the end of the year for the playoffs, but if you're one of the top teams in the league and you've lost like a bunch of games in a row, don't you think that suddenly motivation, not for playoff positioning, but to prove to yourself that you don't suck, that you're still an elite team, is something that matters, that comes into play? No?
Not this group, because it's more important to be healthy. They've dominated all season long. To me, they've been quite clearly the best team in the league. I know the Panthers are probably going to win the President's Trophy at this point, and then you have Nashville and Minnesota. You're in your division against teams that you're likely to meet in the playoffs. It's just be healthy, stay healthy, and then that first game against the wildcard team, you're going to destroy them. So I don't look. You're right. I prefer the way the Flames are doing things, but right now the Flames are healthy and the Avs aren't. So
yeah. So you like the St. Louis money line more than the team total over. You think Colorado will clamp down on D?
In all honesty, I don't know what Colorado is going to do here. Richie Rich says Colorado will score. Birdie says people believe these good teams can play bad for 2 weeks for whatever reason, then take game 1 in the playoffs, just flip a switch and all is well. And he says it doesn't work that way. But St. Louis is just playing too well. They need this game, and the Avs don't. And it makes me want to back them.
All right. I will take at Will Hill right now. St. Louis team total over 2.5 minus 135. St. Louis team total over 2.5 minus 135. If it loses, fine. I'll take it. Official.
Over 2.5. Sorry, 2.5 at minus 135.
Yes.
Correct. I like it. And Brady says with this roster, the Avs should not be this bad. I think what it does is show you how important Devon Taves is. But let's move on to the last couple games, getting to MLB. Next up, Kraken Canucks.
Yeah, Seattle. Since they've gotten this new guy, Matty Beignet, they've been competitive, right? But they've had 2 straight road losses. But before that, they won 3 in a row at home, kind of putting up some goals here and there. And Vancouver. 3 losses in a row, but the last 2 were tough ones on the road. But at this big of a dog line, I was thinking Seattle team total over, Seattle first period in some way. I'm looking to bet on Seattle until the end of the year, I think.
I think that's a good angle, and you can't get a positive ROI on it. Bruce Boudreau is real heavy on the Canucks while they're mathematically possible to get in the playoffs. And the only reason why they are is because of Vegas falling apart against the Sharks, to go all out. Like, he's stressing it. He's saying it to the media. And Bruce Boudreau, as humorous and fun as he is, he's also not a pushover. I mean, this man is can get very fired up and very intense. And I think the Canucks smash here at home, even though the Kraken are a value team. I think that it makes sense to back them in situations here, but we saw what happened when Minnesota turned it on against this Kraken squad, and Beniers is being fun to watch, second overall pick, and it's too bad that Gretzky wasn't playing on an expansion team. For those Oilers were a ready to go WHA team, so I don't like that Gretzky holds that record, and I wish Beniers had beaten that point streak that Gretzky holds, because it's stupid. But I think the Canucks smash here. Mike says Seattle's worth it. When the Canucks look, JT Miller is going to be 100-point scorer this year. I mean, you have Quinn Hughes just tied Doug Lidster for 63 points for the most scored by a defenseman, and that was in 86-87. Boudreaux is just adamant about these guys carrying, and now they've lost 3 straight. They're coming back home. I think it's a perfect opportunity for the Canucks to really turn it on here, and maybe they don't the last couple of games of the year, but from everything I've been reading, this is still all systems go. Let's show them what kind of hockey team we are. Let's show our fans what kind of hockey team we are. And look at this record with Brucey, baby, 30, 15, and 9 since Boudreaux's taken over. So I really think that it's the Canucks puck line. I moved on it. I bet the Canucks puck line. I got -1.5 at +115. When we look at the line history here, there's been a 10-cent move towards the Kraken. So the Canucks have gone from -230 to -220. That's just the way I see it. So
all right, and you can put me on the over on this one, Jimmy the Bag. I'm looking at Will Hill, which has some off-market numbers at times. I'm seeing 5.5 -145. So you can put me on Seattle, Vancouver over 5.5 -145. I'll take that one officially.
All right. Slatsy says double up on the team total in the Canucks in regulation. That might be a great idea. What is the Canucks team total here if I was to bet it? I'm sure. Let's just move over here quickly, and we'll move on to the last game. But I think Slatsy's right. I just see the Canucks rolling here. Over 3.5 at -120. I don't dislike it.
That's not regulation. That's including OT.
Yeah, Canucks team total over 3.5. Yeah, it's concluding OT. Yeah, interesting. I'm gonna take a look at that some more, Slatsy, but I like it. Res Mob, thank you, my man. It felt as good. It was just such a dominant. When you have an expectation of a game and it just goes exactly the way that you thought it would, it feels so good because it doesn't happen all the time. So I'm excited. Let's keep rolling. Last game on the schedule: Ducks Sharks.
San Jose. Let me see. Isn't San Jose the team that? God, my memory is so bad with all these games. San Jose is the team that had a big win recently. Yeah, that's right, against Chicago. I was all over San Jose in Chicago in that one. I was definitely not on them against Vegas, but I was not on Vegas either. Now they're back home against Anaheim, and Anaheim is just almost always losing. And so I guess my question is, once again, measuring motivation here. Does Anaheim care about this game at all? If not, San Jose is pretty clearly playing with some life. So maybe San Jose as a small favorite, a modest favorite, or the team total over. What do you think?
I moved on the Sharks here. They're playing good hockey, inspired hockey. Yeah. And here you have Getzlaf not traveling with the team for the last 2 games. Can anybody tell me why that's happening? Does anybody why do you need your last game to be at home? That was a spectacular assist. I mean, these aren't you a fucking warrior? Aren't you? These are your fucking teammates. I just, for the life of me, what the? You think your brother Chris Getzlaf wouldn't play the last game for the Rough Riders if it was on the road, Brian? Or is Getzlaf so much more of a man than you? The Ducks coming up their 3rd straight loss, 6-3 at home versus the Blues. They look terrible. 13, 14, and 5 in their past 22 games. 7 wins since the All-Star break, and 2 have come against the Sharks. So I think the Sharks will take them seriously here. San Jose scored 2 goals in the final 3 minutes against Vegas. It was impressive. They're playing good hockey. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day is San Jose. I love it, Ron. I absolutely love it. So I'm with you on this. And Leonard Porsche said, I'm not sure Raptors money line for Game 6 is a smart play. He says, take them to win the series to +550. You can lock in some profit for Game 7. Look, I'm swimming in Raptors profits. I don't, they can lose. I'm not going to, I get it. The win in 7. Dennis said do that yesterday because you got +1,700 on that. And I still didn't even do that. I just bet a little more on the game. So I'm just going to bet every game on the Raptors money line. That's how I'm handling it. But I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, Leonard. If you want a bigger score, I'm how much money have I made off the Raptors this week? I got 2.6K when Scotty Barnes wins Rookie of the Year. I cashed at +275. Yesterday I cashed at whatever +130 the game before. I mean, it's just cash, fucking cash. Last thing I'm worried about is not making enough cash. Take it away here. I'm on the Sharks -1 at +119, Pete.
All right, we'll wrap this up very shortly. I'm just looking at this. I'm just thinking out loud here, Jimmy the Bag. I see San Jose. They've been playing great, but they're still not a great hockey team. They're coming off a big road win against Vegas. And Anaheim, sometimes when one of these, when they're in a situation where the star doesn't travel and this and that, it shakes things up. And if you look at them, they haven't been that bad. Look at this. They lost by 2 on the road to LA. They lost at Tampa Bay in OT. They lost at Florida in OT. They lost at Carolina by 3. Okay, forgivable. And they beat Philly on the road. So they've been competitive on the road against the top teams in the NHL, Jim.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I don't know personally. I don't know why the Sharks. If I was going to think what two teams are going to play well down the stretch here in the last few games, meaningless games, I wouldn't have thought that the Sharks would, but the Sharks have.
Yeah, so, I'm going to hold off on this one. I'm going to hold off, even though I was an inch away from tailing you on San Jose.
Cool. Ron Crawford on the Sharks. I'm on the Sharks as well. The Ducks had everything to play for against a really good team in the Blues, and they could put it together for 20 minutes. This team just doesn't care, and now their captain isn't even coming with them on this last road trip. So I'm very comfortable with the Sharks -1 here.
They were also on a back-to-back, and the game before that was a road game against the Kings,
Yeah, and those games meant something. They meant something because they were important games for the Kings, and the Ducks were able to play in packed houses. I
don't know. And then and the Carolina loss was also on a back-to-back. It's like, and it's like, all right, so they lost by 3 to Carolina. I don't know, man. Okay, I hope you cash. I hope Ron Crawford cashes.
Thank you. All right, let's just review all of NHL here before we move on. We have moving into MLB next. Pete is on the Panthers -1 at +145. And I do have interest in this under 6.5 at plus money. And I expect to move on it. Devils Senators, we have stayed off. I just don't know what Blackwood's going to do. And I expect Hischier back. And do I want Ottawa as a favorite? I could move on Ottawa. Slatsy says Ducks 5-1 in the last 6 versus Sharks. That's a big part. The 2 of the 7 wins for the Ducks were against the Sharks. So I do not see the Sharks coming in willy-nilly in this spot. I think the Sharks want to stop that from continuing. But Blue Jackets Lightning, we have stayed off. Pete's on the Rangers -1 at +150. Rangers team total over 2.5 at -140. And I'm on the Rangers -1. I didn't get as nice number as Pete. I got +143 when I bet it. The under 6.5 in Edmonton, Pittsburgh, I'm interested in. I think I might just leave that as just being interested, but I am interested in that spot. Pete's on the Isles, team total over 2.5 in the Isles first period at +146. I'm off that game. I'm on the Red Wings +2 at +104, and I'm going to add the first period or team total over 2.5. Yes, the Leafs have to get one more point to ensure that they have home ice advantage. So it does mean something, and Mike was important. It is important to mention that and helpful there. But I still think that this means a ton to Detroit, and I think they're going to come. I don't know if I'll move on the Predators at +120. I'm thinking about it. The Coyotes +2 or 2.5. I've got question marks beside. I'll look at that longer after the show. Vegas, Dallas, we have stayed off. Blues at +145 for me, and Pete's on the Blues team total over 2.5 at -135. I'm on the Canucks puck line and thinking about the team total over 3.5. And Ron Crawford says April spreadsheet NHL run 17-5-1. And then Sharks -1 for me, Pete. That is our action. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great. Man, some of these handicappers we roll with are just killing it, Jim.
Yeah, man.
Crawford, it's Durrell, Sammy Comer.
It's been the best. I think it's been the best couple of weeks for all of us. I've just seen everybody cashing. It's been wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, let's move on here to MLB. That everything was going so well for me, and then the Cardinals fell apart in the top of the 9th last night when I had them at +140. I did cash for the Giants at +170 and lost on that first 5 over 4. So it was a losing day for me. I came into the show after our Tuesday. We had a rough day in MLB, Pete. And so I came in and was like, I'm changing everything on Wednesday. And since then, I'm up just over 5 units, and I'm going to stick to it. And also, it's so difficult. I find baseball so difficult, and when I can talk everything out and look at it every single angle, I just do much better. So that's much love, Lamont. Thank you for joining us. JA 6-1 yesterday, a real deal prime ready to get to work. So let's all get to work. Pete, let's get to work, my friend. We start with the, let me move all this over and get everything up here. 6:35 p.m. Eastern. Let's also just see what the Say Hey play of the day is. And the Say Hey play of the day is our very first game on the docket. So let's go ahead and bring in Jose Bouquet, who's having a spectacular MLB season. Jose, how are you, my man?
Doing good. We had a good show yesterday, Jim. At least I thought we did. I enjoyed it very much. Nice winning record. You dominated a Giants call yesterday. Congratulations. The Cardinals did get us over a barrel, and it was ugly. But today's another day, and we have some of your favorite pitchers on the mound today.
We do have some of my favorite pitchers on the mound. Pete, starting with a pitcher that we've only started to love because of the graphics that our man Jose puts together, and that is Helen Mitch Keller here. Helen Mitch Keller on the bump for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And young Jose didn't know who Helen Keller was, the infamous Helen Keller, and now he does. That's that's what the show is all about.
Whoa, I didn't know what she looked like.
Oh, you did know. You did know.
I know who she was, obviously. I just didn't know what she looked like. I mean,
anyone who's been in third grade has heard all the extremely unwoke Helen Keller jokes, which I'm sure are still around in 2022.
We got the spreadsheet action in here from Ron Crawford. He's on the Braves. But let's talk about this Brewers Pirates spot. Brewers come in 10-7, 5-4 on the road at the Pirates, 8-8, 4-2 at home. This game pops off at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. We're at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let's start with the weather over there in Pittsburgh. First pitch, it's 56 Fahrenheit, and the wind is blowing out 13.5 miles per hour to right center. 13.3, 12.5. So the wind is blowing out healthy in this spot. We have Brandon Woodruff and Mitch Keller. Both of these two pitchers just faced the opposition 5 days ago. Woodruff went 6 innings, allowed 1 hit, no earned runs, 9 Ks, 2 walks. He was spectacular in a 4-2 win at home over these Pirates. He's 2-1, 4.30 ERA, 1.09 whip, 14 2/3, 13 K, 6 walks on the day. Mitch Keller was good against this group too. It went 5 1/3, 4 hits, just 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 7 Ks in that 4-2 loss. He has not had a good year, but he stepped up against these Brewers who aren't hitting righties, but either the Pirates. The Brewers are 211, 618 OPS versus righties, while the Pirates are 216, 615 OPS versus righties, and both bullpens have been good. Brewers bullpen not quite as elite as we expected. And that's just because all bullpens across the league have been being so good. Brewers bullpen 3.39 ERA, 1.34 whip, while the Pirates bullpen 3.75 ERA, 1.16 whip. Tim Montana BX says Brewers have been traveling a lot, and their bats say it. Let's just do a quick line history look, and then we'll pass it on to you guys. The Brewers opened up at minus 185 at 5 o'clock yesterday. There's been a 20-cent move at Bet365 to the Pittsburgh Pirates. And from a ticket standpoint, 7,099 tickets in. And we have 19% of the tickets on the Pittsburgh Pirates and 67% of the cash. Big bets have come in on the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll start with Jose Bouquet and then hand it over to Pistol Pete Loshak. Jose, do start with your very impressive record. And then at the end, let us know who is the special guest on today's show. Take it away here, Brewers Pirates.
Yeah, so 75-59, still up 22.81 units on the year. It's very nice. Yesterday went 5-2, plus 3 units yesterday. So made up for the debacle the day before. This game, and by the way, I have Big Ragu on the show today. It's going to be a fun time coming back hot off his trip from Las Vegas. I'll get to hear all the stories from there. But I didn't want to oversimplify or overthink this, I should say. We all know Mitch Keller is pretty predictable. On cue, on the road, he had a great start versus the Milwaukee Brewers here. Coming back home now, career 6.4 ERA, 97 innings pitched. I will gladly take the Brewers here. I actually took them run line. One of the rare times I do take a run line. Minus 1.5, obviously minus 110. It's at minus 105 right now on Bovada, so that makes me feel a little shitty about it. But I've tried to pay attention to these pitchers going back and forth. You know, I should say the second start against the same team, Barrios and Evaldi last night, that showed that they didn't care about it. Ohtani against the Astros the other day, he was going up against them again. He dominated, and it feels like just pitchers are just really ahead right now. I don't know what it is. I've mentioned it several times. Offense is down historically to its worst point ever right now. Shout out to Amalie the dog for joining us as well. Brandon Woodruff, I think, can dominate these Pirates again pretty simply. I mean, you just said 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earnings, 9 Ks. And I'll gladly take a Brewers team that, though they don't hit, 22nd against righties, 85 weighted runs created plus right now. I think Mitch Keller is just bad enough to get the job done. The Giants, who we all know don't hit lefties, they're last against lefties. Actually, I'm not sure about that. They were last against lefties, I should say. Pat Corbin came around the other week. I thought, well, maybe Pat Corbin will be good enough to do his thing. The Giants go yard off of him several times, have a great offensive outing against them. I think something similar could happen here. I think Keller's that bad, basically.
I can get you minus 102 at Pinnacle. So the say hey play of the day here for my record keeping purposes, Brewers minus 1.5 and minus 102. Pistol Pete Loshak, Brewers, Pirates, take it away.
Yeah, baseball is very much about weighted coin flips. I'm not sure how many plays I'll have today. The only game that I really like is also Ron Crawford's play of the day, Atlanta. I did hit that one. I have tremendous respect for Jose Bouquet's take on MLB in general. You're kind of down on Keller, Jose Bouquet. I wonder why that is. He has some peripherals and some the research I've been reading on him. I'm kind of I don't know. I'm kind of high on him. And he has some indicators that indicate that he has like a pretty big upside. Kind of similar to Alcantara a little bit. And I think that what's his name? Woodruff, no reason to believe that he won't deal again. Both teams don't hit righties. I haven't bet this one yet. My leans would probably be to the under and to the first half under and to the Pittsburgh first 5 team total under. But at the current lines, I'd probably take Pittsburgh as this big of an underdog. But I have tremendous respect for you. Really down on Keller, huh?
Yeah, I just, the over 6 ERA at home is just something I don't want to fuck with. I would bet him on the road potentially. Definitely, I would think about betting him on the road. And, all those expected stats will only take us so far. When we see that against the Nationals, he gives up 4 runs. And against the Cardinals team who doesn't hit righties that great, he gave up another 4. I mean, I understand he gave up 1 at Milwaukee, but, I was on the road. We'll see how he does this time. Like I said earlier, pitchers seemingly have the advantage. I believe Moose Money said they have an advantage until it gets a little hotter. I think it's a little more that they've, spring training and all that stuff shortened. Maybe the pitchers are just doing their thing there. And pitchers, like I said yesterday on Say Hey Plays, the Red Sox starting pitchers and relievers are starting to say that their bodies and all their throwing programs are at the point where they would be normally right now for like opening day. So it seems like pitchers are now starting to be 100% ready to go. And I just, Mitch Keller is just not the guy. I mean, we'll just bring up the graphic again. Pete, do you want to bet on this guy right here? Is this something you want to bet on?
He's a young guy. They make improvements. They go to the stat sheets and the analytics and the pitching coaches, and they work on getting their velocity up. His velocity's up, Jose Bouquet. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'll gladly take my chances here, and I need him to show it to me here. Shove it up my ass, Mitch Keller. Shove it straight up my ass. Have a great start here and beat these Brewers, because I'm traditionally down on the Brewers. Everyone knows that I think that the Cardinals are going to win that division. So I just want to see Mitch Keller do it for me at least once then. But until then, I'm taking the Brewers run line, and we'll see if Mitch Keller – and, Pete, if – Mitch Keller does have a great start, you're turning it over to a bullpen that I obviously don't have faith in either. So,
the Pirates bullpen, you mean?
Yeah, they have good numbers to start off the year. You can say low bullpen ERA, but I think all those numbers will eventually, slowly start making their way down. And then at the end of this month, the roster's thinned down, so relievers will have to go on shorter rest, and then all that will just pile up and eventually collapse on the Pirates. So I think today might be the day where they get bombed off of again here. So we'll see how the Brewers lineup does here. I mean, that's the big wild card here. That's what I need there.
If I were to give me free play, I'd take probably Pirates first 5 team total over 1.5 at -150, but that's not going to be an official play. But interesting analysis, Jose Bouquet.
Billy Friedrich says Keller's expression never changes. Ice cold. Wait till he sticks it in Jose's ass. Jose locked in Brewers -1.5, -102, and Pete and I are both off of this spot. Jose's special guest today, the big Ragu, who will be our guest tomorrow. So Ragu going to hit hard in MLB Tuesday with Jose, Wednesday here on Betting with the Bag. And one more time, hit us with that record one more time. It's spectacular, Jose.
I just like the light that comes into your eyes when I say the record. And it's shocking how many bets I've had already into the season. 75 and 59 plus 22.81 units this year.
Shit.
All tracked, recorded, and all that good stuff because I've learned from these two gentlemen that we're transparent.
I love it. There it is. Jose Bouquet. Great stuff. We move on to 6:40 p.m. Eastern. San Diego Padres 10-7, 4-3 on the road at Cincinnati Reds. 3-13, 1-4 at home. And by the way, Taint is in. We'll talk about it more when that game comes up a little bit later. But Taint is in, and so is Spreadsheet Play of the Day. They are both in. We're at the Great America Ballpark here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's start with the weather in Ohio. First pitch, 55 Fahrenheit. It is chilly, and the wind is blowing out again, 13.3 miles per hour down to 12.2, and then 9.7 by the end of the game. So it's blowing out in a nice little hitter's ballpark, but it's cool. Very cool temperatures, which doesn't help. Joe Musgrove and Reiver San Martin. So now we have, again, just like in that first game, two pitchers that just faced the opposition. Musgrove, 2-0, 1.89 ERA, 0.74 whip, 19 innings, 21 Ks, 1 walk, 2 home runs. I was going to move. Oh, and Kochetkov is confirmed for the Hurricanes. Wow. Okay, thank you, Slatsy. Then there's Dennis Trusty in the house. Great to see you. Trusty Millsy as well. We got Millsy here. CD Bases, Padres run line. Reds offense can't afford to be without India. And Remo says, how does San Diego lose today? That was my initial thought too, but everything didn't correlate, so I can't wait to hear Pete's breakdown on this one. 6 1/3 Musgrove went in that 6-2 win at home versus the Reds last week, and he faced San Martin in that spot. 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 7 Ks, 1 walk for Musgrove, while San Martin got touched. 5 1/3, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 homer, 4 Ks, 1 walk, and a 6-2 loss. Padres are hitting .232, 728 OPS versus lefties, while the Reds are not hitting righties at all. 179, 530 OPS. Julian Cesario on Padres' first 5 in full game. Viper on Padres' first 5 -half. He says Reds can't hit squat, and Padres rake lefties. No need to overthink it, which is exactly what I've done. I've been overthinking this game. Padres bullpen 4.03 ERA, 1.09 whip. Reds bullpen 4.10 ERA, 1.37 whip. Let's just take a quick look at the line history and where the cash is, and then hand it over to Pistol Pete Loshak. The Padres opened up at -165, and the initial move was a 10-cent move towards the Reds. Then there was a 15-cent move. This all happened around last night, to a 20-cent move at 1 a.m. And then at 9 a.m., it came back 5 cents to the Reds. So since the opening line at Bet365, which came out yesterday at 5 o'clock, it's only been a 5-cent move to the Padres. From a total perspective, it opened at 8, juice to the over at -120. It's now 8, juice to the under at -120. And then we get to the cash flow here. 13% of the tickets are on the Reds and 27% of the cash. 44% of the tickets are on the over. 74% cash is on the over. Take it away, Pete, here. Is it as easy as the chat thinks it is for the Padres to win here on the road?
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious. I have definitely been, I mean, the Reds are legitimately bad, and I have been fading them, and I think I will be continuing to fade them in most spots going forward. This one I haven't pulled the trigger on yet. This is a classic kind of, first half and first quarter of the MLB season, obvious play that I'm less quick to pull the trigger on at this point in my life than I was when I first started. Musgrove is for real. Cincinnati's shitty offense is for real. San Diego is an impressive team, and they're coming off a sloppy game. It's just a very hot, once again, baseball more than any other sport, I think, is all about weighted coin flips. And I didn't pull the trigger on this one. I don't know if I'm going to have a play on it. And if you all are on San Diego, I definitely hope you cash. My preliminary numbers indicate that the line is too high, but I definitely didn't bet Cincinnati, and I have no play on this one as of right now.
Yeah, I have no play on it either.
And Moose Money says, once San Martin settled in, he retired like 10 in a row. I'd also have a link to the under as well. I know people are saying it's a blowing out, and at Cincinnati, numbers indicate slight lean to the under as well. Sorry, go ahead.
I bet that first 5 under and lost in the last matchup with each other. So, but I get it, and then there were some big bets that have come in on the Reds, and they interest me very much. And I'm clearly overthinking it, which I will continue to do right now. And that's what I did last year. And that's what I wasn't doing off the top. If this was at the beginning of the year, I would have already been on the Padres' first 5 full game. Look, Musgrove is pitching very well. And anyone on that move, I get it. I'm not moving on it. So let's move on then, Pete. We move on to 6:40 p.m. Eastern. Seattle Mariners 10-6, 3-4 on the road at the Rays, 9-7, 6-4 at home at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Logan Gilbert against a bullpen day started by Matt Whistler. Logan Gilbert has been so good. Yeah. We cashed with him first 5 in full game in his last start at home versus the Rangers. He went 6 2/3, 6 hits, no earned runs, 4 Ks, no walks. He's 2-0 with a 0.54 ERA, 0.84 WHIP, 16 2/3, 15 Ks, 1 walk, 1 home run allowed. Whistler's been good. He has started 1 game. But he's I believe he's had 4 appearances. I don't have that in front of me. 7 1/3, 7 Ks, 2 walks, 1 homer, 2.45 ERA, 0.95 WHIP. Mariners hitting 242, 721 727 OPS versus the righties. Rays hitting 229, 675 OPS. Mariners bullpen and Rays bullpen both have been very good. So let's start with the line history and then move on to how we plan on betting this. First off, it opened up at 10-2 in the morning. And the Mariners were minus 110 favorites. There's been a big 25-cent move towards the Tampa Bay Rays. We saw a similar move yesterday with the Angels. And Jose was way ahead of that curve. Jose was on the Angels and Lorenzen before that move. And I shouldn't have been that afraid after seeing that move to jump with them on the Angels. It's something that I get, I don't know if it's a jealousy thing or what, but when a friend of mine gets a much better line than me, I just prefer to stay off. Maybe that's something I should change. But a huge move towards the Rays. This total opens up at 7 juice to the over. It's now 7 juice slightly to the under. And when we get over to the cash flow in this spot, we have 43% of the tickets on the Mariners, 47% of the cash. So it's basically a coin flip. Yet we've seen this huge move towards the Rays. Then 76% of tickets, 77% of cash on the over. What an interesting game here. And if I wasn't overthinking things, I'd already be on Gilbert. Good thing I didn't move on him. Even if I want to move on him now, that's fine, but I'll get a much better price. But take it away here. I can't wait to hear your breakdown, Pete. This is a very interesting game, Mariners Rays.
Yeah, I want to look more into Gilbert. I think that there's going to be some regression for him, but maybe not. If you gave me a free play on it, I might take the first inning no run scored, which is just minus 126. Whistler should be a fine opener. And yeah, Gilbert has been pitching excellently. I would definitely be leaning Tampa Bay, although as the line gets higher, less so. Seattle played great on their homestand, but now they're going to Tampa Bay. Tough place to play. Tampa Bay's bullpen rested, and the line is low because Gilbert has probably been pitching a little bit better than what we'll see from him long term. Tampa Bay hit him last year, right, in 2 starts. He's also a young guy who's going to be improving, similar to Keller, right? So Gilbert is an interesting character. I want to do a little bit more in-depth research into his peripherals and analytics. I'm not necessarily down on him, but all things considered and considering the line, I'd be leaning Tampa Bay, leaning no run in the first period. And that's my take on this one. Again, Tampa Bay hit him last year in 2 starts.
They sure did. I'm also a little surprised that Cash is going with Whistler here to start this off. I mean, these Mariners also get to Whistler. Love to see, and Fleming's going to expected to be the primary there, but I mean, look at Suarez against them. He's 9 at bats. He's 4 for 9 with 3 homers, 6 RBIs. So why start him when you know Suarez is going to face him? It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me there, but I get this move towards the Rays. I'm happy.
Eric Jones loving the over, and if you gave me a free play on the total, ironically, I would take that one, but just because it's so low. At some point, the overs are going to start to cash in MLB when the market adjusts and the weather warms up, and more importantly, maybe the humidors get turned down a little bit. Yeah, I would lean over on this one, but definitely not going to bet it.
If you had a free bet on the over, would you lean towards full game at 7 or first 5, trying to focus on Whistler and Gilbert?
Oh, definitely. Definitely full game. Definitely full game. Yeah,
definitely full game. Interesting. And where was the cash on this again? Sorry, the cash on that total is 76% of the tickets on the over, 77% of cash on the over, and we've seen this move towards the under, I believe. Let me just double check that again. Sorry here. Yes, the under's now under 7 minus 115. It opened over 7 at minus 120. Okay. Fascinating game. Still no moves for us on this board, although the say hey play of the day moved on the Brewers run line. But Pete and I have stayed off these first 3 games. Let's move to 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Colorado Rockies 10-6, 4-2 on the road at the Philadelphia Phillies, 7-10, 5-5 at home at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We will start with the weather in Philly. First pitch 71 Fahrenheit, 9 miles per hour sideways in. Goes down a little bit to 8.5 and then up to 10.7 by the end of the game. And it's not freezing there. So let's go. German Marquez versus Zach Eflin. Let's see what we're talking about with the line history in this spot. And then we will move on to the breakdown here. Eflin versus German Marquez. It opened up with the Rockies at plus 130. It quickly went up to plus 145 by about 1:40 a.m. It's now settled at plus 140. From a totals look, it opened at 8.5, juice to the over. It's now a pick 'em. We go over to the money in this game. We have the 50-50 on the tickets, but 73% of cash on Eflin at home. 56% of tickets and 52% of cash on the over. Marquez last start was against these Phillies, and same said with Eflin. Marquez went 6 innings, allowed 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 homers, 5 Ks, 2 walks, and a 9-6 loss at home. Eflin went 5 2/3, 8 hits, 4 runs, 2 of which were earned, 5 Ks. The Rockies are hitting 251, 748 OPS versus righties, while the Phillies are hitting 241, 679 OPS. And the Rockies bullpen started off spectacularly well, has been struggling of late. 4.50 ERA, 1.39 whip, while the Phillies bullpen 4.34 ERA, 1.18 whip. Moose Money says Eflin solid at home. Pete, take it away. Rockies, Phillies.
Yeah, I've had a pretty decent read on Marquez for most of his career, right? Do you remember that, Jim, or not really?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Something might be a little bit wrong with him recently. His last, going back to last year, his last 20, 25 starts have not been that great. And, Philly hit him, of course, in his last appearance. And I'm not sure that was just an anomaly and he'll come back here and be much better. I think they might get to him again. I'm looking at Colorado's lineup and their numbers. I think that they have overachieved a little bit offensively so far. And I'm also, based on the numbers that I look at, his first start was good. Last 2 he got hit. Again, last one was at Coors against Colorado. He looks like probably a candidate for a little bit of positive regression. I'm very wary of betting Philly as a favorite this year. They're not good defensively, and I'm very concerned about them getting overvalued. But in this spot, I'm leaning Philly. I'm probably going to bet them. And I guess I'll probably make it an official play. I guess -1 is what I would take. But again, Marquez is very concerning to me. Eflin, I think, will be okay. Colorado's lineup, I think, has overachieved a little bit. Philly, obviously comes in with a lot of hype. They're not good defensively, but putting it all together, I would probably take Philly here -1.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. You would focus on the full game and not the first 5?
Yeah, just because I think that there's a significant lineup advantage for Philly. So you want the full game, and the Rockies pen I'm not too high on either. So I would take a shot with Philly, and of course in Philly games in general, I would expect high volatility. So I'm going to be looking at underdog lines there, whether betting on them or against them in general, I think.
and you don't want to move on them on the -1 line, which would be
I'll move on it. What the hell? I'll move on it. Let's find a line. Why don't you read some comments and give your thoughts, and I'll do a little bit of line shopping here, and we'll find a nice -1 line here for my first official play of the day on Philly.
I would like to roll with you on this spot.
What we got here.
We have a TJ saying that Herman's velocity is down the last 2 starts. Something is up. I think that there's a lineup advantage, as well as we know that Eflin can step up in the rain. We have this all correlates to me with the Phillies being the look here, and I'm going to join you on this. What is the -1 you can get, and can I help?
I'll see. I'm seeing a Pinnacle -112. We can go with that. We'll take that one. Philly -1, -112.
I am in. All right, let's roll on. Pete is now on the board, and I've made many asterisks beside it. There's my guy, Ick Schnizzle, in the joint. What up, Big Schnizzle, my guy? Let's get to work. Next up, Baltimore Orioles, New York Yankees, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. The Orioles 6-10, 3-7 on the road. At the Yankees, 10-6, 7-3 at home. We're at Yankee Stadium in Bronx, New York. Lyles has historically been somebody that I faded often, and he would get me sometimes. He would turn it on. I stayed off of fading him, although I did take the under in that game, but that was more about those two, the Orioles and the A's offense, just doing nothing. And he handled himself. 5 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, 6 Ks, 1 walk in that 1-0 win at Oakland. Going up against Luis Severino, coming off a 5-3 win at Detroit, where he went 5 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 3 Ks, 2 walks. The O's aren't hitting righties, 205, 590 OPS, and the Yankees aren't hitting righties either. Both bullpens have been strong so far this year, although the Yankees bullpen not as dominant as they started, but they're still, both bullpens have been strong. All right, let's start with the weather in this game. Opening up, first pitch, 54 Fahrenheit. It's cool. The wind is 5.4 miles per hour in, and then it completely dies off. So there's almost no wind at the end of the game. We'll take a quick look at the line history in this Yankees spot. We have Lyles Severino. The Yankees open up at -270. The initial move was towards the Orioles at 260, but now the Yankees we're bet up to -300 at 9:09 a.m. and have dropped 10 cents. So they're -290 right now are these Yankees. From a total look, it opened up at 8. At 8:30 in the morning, it dropped to 7.5. 9:45 back to 8. So it's 8 -120 to the under at this point. And when we look at the cash flow in this Yankees spot, we have 8,082 tickets in. 87% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on the Yankees, 53% of the tickets, 73% cash on the over. Take it away here, Pistol Pete. We're in the Bronx, not far from where you are right now, Orioles, Yankees.
Yeah, this one, it's going to be a pass for me, but, the Yankees are just way better, but -270 way better? No. If you gave me a free play, I'd throw it on Baltimore, and then how are they going to win this game? I don't know. Most of the time they lose, but I do think they win this one more than, 35% of the time or something like that. Lyles is not great, but not terrible, in my opinion, in general. And, Severino is okay so far right now, but 270 or whatever it is right now is just too high. And it's going to be a pass for me. The Yankees are struggling offensively. At some point, the lineup will definitely explode when they start hitting better with runners in scoring position, stuff like that. Pass for me, Jim.
A pass for me as well. Dabby Cab, by the way, is on the Brewers' first 5, and Dabby Cab opened up his account on the show in spectacular fashion just last Thursday. So, man, it was impressive. Dabby Cab went 4-1 plus 3.11 units with an average line of -106, and his account is open. You're right, Pete. I agree completely with your breakdown, and there's no action for me in Orioles Yankees.
But then again, people saying that Severino's going to be lights out. Maybe a Baltimore first 5 team total under might be something I would think about. But yeah, it's going to be a pass for me.
Maybe Orioles first 5 team total under.
Yeah, 1.5, something like that, -130 or so. But I'm just responding to the comment section. It's a pass for me.
I feel you. And Chief in the house. He's a Miami, Washington, no run first inning for Chief. I'll copy and paste that. Thank you for sharing that with us, Chief. And that is the next game we speak of. Chief on one here. Marlins, Nationals, no run in the first inning. Marlins 7-8, 3-5 on the road at the Nationals, 6-12, 3-8 at home at Nationals Park in DC. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with here weather-wise. First pitch, 64 Fahrenheit, just 2 miles per hour in, very light wind issues. And then we go to the line history in this Nationals Marlins spot. We have the Marlins opening up as minus 135 favorites. The initial move was towards the Marlins. They get to minus 140, but now it's back to Washington. So Marlins are minus 125. Nationals are plus 105. We get to the total here, opened up at 8, and within an hour and 25 minutes dropped to 7.5 at a pick'em. And that 7.5 is now juiced to the under minus 120. When we go to the cash flow in Alcantara versus Josiah Gray, we have 72% of the tickets on Alcantara, 66% of the cash. Then we have 69% of the tickets on the under and 54% of cash on that under. Alcantara coming off a great start. It was a 2-0 loss at the Cardinals, but he looked very good. 8 innings, 4 hits, no one run, 6 Ks, 1 walk, and we all cashed on that first 5 under. I should have had the full game under as well. He's got a 1.86 ERA, 1.09 whip. It's very easy to back him at home. The question is, do you want him here on the road? We'll go over the batter versus pitcher stats. Josiah Gray on the other side, coming off a nice performance at home versus Arizona. 5 1/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 8 Ks, and 2 walks, and he's looked good. He had a bad start, but now his season-long record looks pretty good. Marlins versus righties, 249, 731 OPS. Nats versus righties, 229, 637 OPS. Marlins bullpen, 3.33 ERA, 1.11 whip, while the Nats bullpen, 4.10 ERA, 1.39 whip. Take it away here, Pete. Marlins, Nats.
Zach Levine, health and safety protocols.
Oh, God. Will it never end? God, that's awful news for Bulls fans. Very awful news. And we have Walter Trotter, a.k.a. Wham Bam, Trot Wam, joining us for NBA here shortly. Take it away here, Pete. Marlins, Nationals.
Yeah, Alcantara, definitely a guy who I'm, not thinking twice about backing at home, thinking a time and a half, if not twice, about backing on the road. And Gray, high upside, but inconsistent. First start shaky, last start was excellent. I think he's good in general. Someone mentioned no score in the first inning. That's tempting. And Washington is just not hitting. Even Soto's not really hitting. So, I would be leaning Nats here. Although their lineup is looking pretty banged up right now as well. It's going to be a pass for me, but if you gave me a free play, I would take the Nats as a home dog.
Backing Josiah Gray. And we have a similar situation sort of with Logan Gilbert, where the numbers against Gray, I mean, they hit him hard, but do you see this as just a different pitcher this year than he was last year? And we can sort of put a line through those pitcher versus batter records?
Half and half. I mean, I think he's definitely improving. You know what I mean? I wouldn't disregard him completely, though.
And if you were to back the Nats here, and I know this is a lean at this point, would you want that first 5 or would you want that full game?
I'd probably take full game.
Full game, but no move for Pete here in this.
I mean, the Nats again, their bullpen was a little bit of a question mark coming into the season, how it would be. Crushed in their last one, but they had been pitching well before that. So I'm not, as of right now, down on the Nats bullpen.
Yeah.
And I'd want to see who's in the lineup. Is Bell going to be in or not?
And TJ says Gray off-speed stuff is up slightly, says he's buying on both pitchers. He likes the first 5 under here. Let me just see what that first 5 under would be if I wanted to move on this one here in Washington. That first 5 under 3.5 at a pick'em. All right. LJ from H-Town in the house says Marlins are 7th highest WOBA versus righties versus Nationals, who are ranked 18th. The Marlins versus righties have been good this year, 249, 731 OPS. Okay, so Chief is on the Miami-Washington no-run first inning, no action for Pete or I. Let's keep moving here. And Dabby Cap says, you know what, after thinking, listening, and reading, I like the first 5 under as well. So, and then CT Bay says, don't be scared by 3.5 first 5 under. Neither team hitting the other starter. I'll put just a question mark. And Chief on the no-run first inning. First 5 under 3.5. And Pete, is what's sort of keeping you off the first 5 under 3.5 is Alcantara on the road?
Yeah, and also Gray's inconsistency, I would say, and that the Marlins have been, as the other guy said, hitting okay against righties. That is a low line. If you gave me a free play on the first 5 total, I'm not sure what I would take, but I'd rather have the Nats as a home dog than a play on the first 5 total. Put it that way.
I get it. Great stuff. Let's move on to another AL East battle here in Toronto. I've let go of any futures on the Blue Jays. The fact that they're playing this well with this lineup means that I just can't do it now. The division's down to plus 110. The AL is at plus 300, and to win it all is at plus 700. So I probably should have moved on it before the season started, I guess. Let's go. Rogers Center in Toronto, Ontario. Roof will be closed. Nick Pivetta going up against Kevin Gausman, who looks very good so far this year. Pivetta does not, but he was much better last year on the road than he was at home, and now he gets to come to Canada, and he is Canadian, so this is an opportunity for him to step up. He did not look good last start against these very Blue Jays. 4 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 homer, 4 Ks, 4 walks, and a 6-1 loss. His ERA is over 10. His WHIP's over 2. 10 Ks, 9 walks, not being a good start. Billy Friedrich on the Jays first 5 -1/2 here. Eric Jones on the Jays run line. Mally Mal says Jays again. And CT Bays says the Jays should destroy Pivetta. Billy Friedrich says Pivetta is bad. Moose Money says I'm stepping in it. Blue Jays team total over. Gausman looked great in his last start. It was at Fenway. 8 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 8 Ks, 0 walks in a 3-2 win. And they were just raving about him here in Toronto radio shows. Jays versus righties, 255, 748 OPS. That number is been consistently going down. Springer is back, but we don't have Teoscar Hernandez in the lineup. Red Sox versus righties, 226, 624 OPS. Red Sox bullpen, 3.50 ERA, 1.21 WHIP. Blue Jays bullpen, 2.65 ERA, 0.97 WHIP. Let's see the line history and then where the cash is, and then hear what Pete has to say about this spot. And as you might have guessed, a big move towards the Jays. The first move was a 15-cent move, and Bet 365 doesn't do that very often. Usually they're 5-cent increments. It was a 15-cent move about an hour and 40 minutes after they dropped this line last night. Then 5 more cents at 1:41 a.m. and 5 more cents at 9:46 a.m. So we're sitting now at minus 185, a 25-cent move in total towards the Jays. This total opened up at 8.5, and it moved at 9:45 this morning to 8, and then it was over at minus 120 under at plus 100. It is now a pick'em at 8. Go over to the cash flow here in this Jays spot. And full line value, says Sports Insights. They say that the most line value on this entire card is on Nick Pivetta and the Boston Red Sox. 6,990. Yeah, surprised. I didn't realize that. By the way, the second most line value, says Sports Insights, is Josiah Gray and the Nationals. The third tie for most line value is a tie between the Reds and Reaver San Martin and the Texans and Taylor Hearn. And the only other spot that has like legitimate line value is the Pirates and Mitch Keller. That is from Sports Insights here. We have 6,998 tickets in. 23% of the tickets on the Red Sox, 43% of the cash on them. 61% of tickets on the under, 72% of cash on that under. What an interesting game and big AL East matchup. Red Sox, Jays, take it away.
I didn't want you to. I don't want you to think that I'm just copying what you just said, because I was going to say that anyway, Jimmy the Bag. And yeah, a lot of like I was trying to hint at in the beginning of this show, a lot of MLB really is weighted coin flips more than anything else. So there's a lot of underdog lines that I kind of like with small value that still have, that a lot of times I'll be on them, but definitely wouldn't make it an official play. And for this game, I was going to say, I haven't bet it yet, and I might not bet it, and I don't know if and I definitely won't make it an official play. But I'm thinking, according to the numbers I look at, Boston is probably a little bit of a value play here. Pivetta is significantly worse from last season, but also significantly better, according to the way that I look at things, than what he has done so far in this short season. I mean, his velocity's down a little bit, his peripherals are down a little bit, But he's, last year he was excellent, both in his results and in his peripherals, and his velocity and everything is not that far off from where he was when he was excellent last year. Gausman is great, pitching a little bit over his head, though. Not that he's not going to be great going forward, because I think he will be, but he'll have his down spots. And my take on this game is that if there's value, it's with Boston. I haven't bet it yet, and there's no way in hell I have the balls to give that as an official play here publicly in this show, Jimmy the Bag. That's my take on this game, though. Pivetta is not, in my opinion and analysis, as bad as he's shown so far this year. And also, of course, facing Toronto for the second time in a row. He's working stuff out, with his delivery as well, that I've read about. So I would rate Gausman as significantly better than Pivetta, but maybe not as much better as most people would be rating him.
I think that's well put.
Yeah,
I think that's well put. And we talked about this yesterday on Jose's show, and that the line value was on the Angels yesterday. And I believe, was that correct? Yeah, Craig saying Sports Insight had the Angels as the highest line value last night, and we saw what happened there. Interesting. So it makes me very uncomfortable, but I can understand expecting a positive regression from Pivetta and maybe some negative from Gausman.
I mean, he's good though. He's not. It's yeah. And
really
also, if you look at his last start, obviously he got crushed that one inning. He had some innings where he was doing okay, and that's how baseball goes. If you have a couple of great innings and then one bad inning, that's all that matters. I'm just saying this is a huge dog line here, so I can't give it as official play, but I might be on Boston by first pitch with a bet.
Big game in Toronto and a huge game for Red Sox, already 7-10 on the season. No, Ronnie, I don't think it has to do with being Canadian. But it's just, if you look at the splits last year, they were very strong on the road and very poor at Fenway, and he just looked bad at Fenway. But in saying that, look, I'm not going to back the Red Sox, but I'm not going to be on the Jays in this spot. Would it surprise me if the Jays win again? Absolutely not. Let's move on. What are you doing here, Jose? You got it.
Yeah, first 5 under. You guys were dancing around it the whole time, and I was wondering if you guys were going to talk about it. I'm on the first 5 under 4.5. I think Nick Pivetta has the best start of his career, or not career, but the best start of his season so far. At the Rogers Center last year, he went 6 innings, no earned runs. He's better away, and he's Canadian. That's enough to convince me for him to have a good start. This Red Sox offense is shitty right now. So can Gausman keep it together? I think he can. So
that's actually a great bet. There you go. Very nice.
That's
the bet you guys were dancing around, and that's the bet I've already made official.
What did you get it at? Because come back for a sec, because it's up to minus. Pinnacle's now moved it to 4, although obviously you can get the 4.5, and it's at minus 129. It's at minus 130 at Bet365. What did you get it at, out of curiosity?
Right now, let me double check for you. I also have the full game under 8.5. By the way, that's what I made official. So I was a little mistaken, but I'm taking the first 5 under after all this, I guess. So let me double check for you guys. Sorry, this is taking a little bit to bring up.
I imagine you got the 8.5 then.
Minus 115. I got that, but I have the first 5 under 4.5 at minus 125. There we go. And I bet on minus 125 earlier. Actually, no, I'm looking at my notes from yesterday. Just kidding. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. So I do have the first 5 under. Yeah, I have the first 5 under 4.5 minus 120. So yeah, I'm not crazy. Yeah.
And 8.5 at minus 115.
Let me see. I do not have that. Was from yesterday. Okay, they have an 8 right now. I took the 8.5 yesterday and won by this fucking skin of my ass. Fuck you, Bo Bichette, you motherfucker. But I got the first 5 under 4.5. That was the bet you guys are dancing around. It's a little juicy at minus 120, 125 now, but I'm still taking it. I believe in both these pitchers.
I don't mind it at that number. Minus 130 is just I just can't do the implied probability there. Dave Burke says, how can you not tail such a responsible young man as Jose? There's Diesel in the house. Great to see you, Diesel. Red Sox, Jays, no action for us. Let's move on to Kansas City Royals, Chicago White Sox. And wow, was I surprised and just full halt and stopping everything. Let's talk it out on the show when as expected, the total went from 8.5 to 9. When it came back to 8.5, I had tripled up in fading Keuchel on the Tuesday show, and you guys were concerned about it. It got rained out. And then on Wednesday, because of your concern, I only made one bet against Keuchel, and that cashed easily as Keuchel 1 inning, 10 hits, 10 runs, 7 runs, 1 homer, 1 walk. But it was an 11-1 loss at Cleveland. His first start was pretty good at home, and this total moving to 9 made perfect sense. Coming back to 8.5 was a bit surprising. Let's talk about this line history here. The Royals open up at plus 125. At 7:30 in the morning, they go to plus 130. At 9:46 in the morning, they're plus 135. So 10-cent move there. And then we're back to 8.5. Like I said, opening up at 8.5, moved to 9 at minus 140, or sorry, at 141 in the morning. And then a 10-cent move to the under 9 at 8:31 in the morning. And then by 10 to 9 in the morning, it was back to 8.5, which is where it is right now. Let's see if the cash follows suit there with this White Sox game here. We have 6,443 tickets in. 77% of the tickets, 74% of cash on Keuchel and the White Sox, and we know they smash lefties. And then 54% of the tickets, 62% of the cash on the over, which is interesting. Let's see if the weather is helping this total. It's out to left center, 11.6 miles per hour. It does die down to 7.2 by the end of the game. Interesting. Daniel Lynch, a lefty on the bump, and the White Sox are hitting 290, 848 OPS versus lefties. His last start was at home against the Twins, and he looked very good. We know he's got a high upside, this kid. 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 2 Ks, 1 walk. It was his best start of the year. Keuchel off that terrible start, and the Royals do not hit lefties at all. 205, 552 OPS. A possible get-right opportunity for Keuchel. Royals bullpen 4.11 ERA, 1.37 whip. White Sox bullpen 3.74 ERA, 1.35 whip. Pistol Pete, Loshak, Royals, White Sox, take it away.
Yeah, this is I have numbers saying that KC hits lefties better than righties, though. So far this year, I guess.
I'll pull up what they are righties, but keep going.
Yeah, kind of down on both of these starters. As of right now, for sure. White Sox offense, though, has obviously they've got a bunch of injuries, and they have strongly underperformed so far this year. If you gave me a free play on it, I would definitely take KC as a dog. Leaning over, my numbers like over, but I don't like over based on just everything that I've seen so far this year in the majors. You know, when you have a high total like this of 9 and 2 starters who are going to get crushed, and the way baseball has been going, that over can be very trappy. But the numbers that I use like the over, and a small lean to KC as well. That's my take on this one. Haven't bet it yet. Might have a bet by first pitch, but definitely leaning KC, and I guess leaning over, although that's just a numbers lean, not an actual lean.
Yeah. Does it surprise you that it's gone back to the 8.5? CT Base thinks it'll be back at 9 by first pitch.
Yeah, I mean, Keuchel is Keuchel. He got crushed in his last start, but he's going to have his starts this year where he doesn't get crushed. This is on paper more likely than not to be one of those. And then Lynch, it's not a good spot for him. He's a little bit of a wild card. And again, the numbers that I use just indicate that KC should not quite be this big of a dog, and worth a bet actually on at like plus 130, which is I think where they still are, right?
And they're plus 135 now. The Royals do hit righties better than lefties. Lefties 205, 552 OPS against righties. The Royals are hitting 216, 618 OPS. They're not hitting either.
Right.
They're not hitting here. Diesel said Keuchel had 4 errors. Rob Free says we could put a lineup together and score off Keuchel. CT Base agreeing. CT Base wants to bat leadoff, says he's got good speed. And the White Sox had 4 errors. Did not help Keuchel at all.
I mean, first 5 over is definitely very tempting, for sure.
Definitely.
At 4.5, I'd take it. At 5, I don't think so.
And if I wanted it right now, let me just take a look at what it is for me here. It's 4.5.
Yeah,
for me, with not much juice at minus 120.
Yeah, that would be, if you gave me a free play on that, maybe before this segment is out, I'll throw that one on there. Kind of a no-brainer play, fading 2 very suspect pitchers, and even in today's environment, those guys, are going to have hard time getting 1, 2, 3 innings.
And Sweaty Butcher expecting a bounce back start. From Keuchel. Okay, let's no action again for us at this point, and what is the main factor keeping you off the first 5 over 4.5?
The offenses are uninspiring. Let's put it that way.
Even though the White Sox are raking against lefties.
Yeah. They've underperformed this year, though, in general. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We move on to 7:20 p.m. Eastern. The Chicago Cubs, 7-9, 3-3 on the road at the Atlanta Braves, 7-10, 4-6 at home. And I know it's being asked about in the chat, and we have arrived. We have arrived at the Atlanta Braves is Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day. Moose money on the Braves first 5. CT Bay says Braves going to smash Stroman. Stroman has not looked very good thus far. 0-2, 8.78 ERA, 1.65 WHIP, 13 and third, 14 K, 6 walks, 3 homers. In his last start, it was a rain-shortened loss at home versus Tampa. He went 4 1/3, allowed 8 hits, 8 runs, 7 of which were in 1 homer, 7 Ks. Going up against Max Fried, who looks very good. Max Fried looks very good. That last start at the Dodgers was a thing of beauty. 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 8 Ks, no walks, and a 3-1 win. Cubs are hitting lefties hard, 247, 743 OPS, and the Braves are hitting righties a little, 224, 710 OPS. Cubs bullpen been very good this year, 2.54 ERA, 1.13 WHIP, while the Braves bullpen has not been very good either, 4.38 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. We'll start with the weather at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. We have 64 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 8.4 miles per hour to left, pretty much, or left center, quite close there. It ends up going out to center. And then when we go over to the line history in this spot, we have, let's pull up the Braves here. We have the Braves opening up at minus 175, and there's been a 15-cent move to the Cubs. So minus 160 would be the money line spot. And there are the spreadsheet plays of the day across each sport from our Ron Crawford. San Jose in NHL, Braves, and the Phoenix Suns. Let me just get this all here. There we go. Okay. So then let's just see where the money is in this game here. The 5,611 tickets in. 68% of the tickets, 42% of the cash on the Braves. So we see, big bets coming in on the Cubs and the market moving towards them. And then 52% of tickets, 62% of cash on the over. Take it away here, Pistol Pete, Loshak, Cubs, Braves.
Yeah, Fried is fine. I thought he was going to have a better start in his second start, and I got burned with that. But his last start was awesome. Stroman's off to a bad start this season. At some point, I do expect them to be significantly better, and then probably after that to start tailing off and to be a fade. But he's I don't know, a little bit Kikuchi-esque in that he can have some horrible starts where he just looks awful. Throwing a sinker that just winds up being just a straight ball. But then when he gets his mechanics back and right, all of a sudden he's putting up modest 5-inning, 6-inning starts that are impressive. So sinker ballers in general, people who don't know baseball, have very high volatility because when your sinker ball is on, it's one of those pitches that is just very hard to hit, even when you know if it's coming. When your sinker is off, it's basically just like a slow ball, like a very slow velocity straight ball that gets crushed. And so, and that's what Stroman is. So, his sinker has been not good this year and he's been crushed, but that doesn't mean that he won't be a lot better when he does get control of it. And I could see this game being that kind of a game for him. I do think Stroman will be significantly better in upcoming games and weeks. So I would lean Atlanta here anyway, because my numbers like it. And when the line moved down, I took it. That's mostly a bet on Fried and Atlanta. But I don't feel really confident fading Stroman right now. And in general, I don't think that his shellacking will continue in upcoming weeks. There's my take.
Yeah, no, it's a good take. And then, I just got off of it. So then if you think that there's a possible bounce back spot, do you have any interest on the under? The under's taken 15 cents since it opened up at 365, 502 yesterday, moved to at 1:41 a.m. minus 120. Do you have any interest in that?
Not really, because Fried is. I don't think Fried's necessarily going to be lights out every start either. So this one, I did bet Atlanta -1. I don't want to make it public. I mean, I want to make it official, and I'm feeling a little bit nervous about it. But we'll, a lot of these bets I finalize or make, after the lineups come out, like an hour before first pitch. So this is one of those games. It's tough to take Atlanta as a huge favorite. Going up against the starting pitcher with high volatility as a big underdog.
CT Base is definitely not backing Stroman until I see it. Says ride the streak of bad performances and take the Braves. That's Cubs, Braves, more no action from Pete and myself. We move on to 7:40 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Tigers 6-9, 2-1 on the road to the Minnesota Twins, 8-8, 5-4 at home at Target Field in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's again start with the weather in Minnesota. 42 Fahrenheit, cool. First pitch, 7.4 miles per hour, sideways left to right. An hour into the game, it starts blowing in, but at first pitch, it's pretty much just blowing left to right. We go over to the line history in this spot here. Tigers, Twinkies. We have Rodriguez and Paddock. The opened with the Twins at -140. They got up to -145 about an hour and 40 minutes after the line was released. Since then, it's been a 10-cent move to the Detroit Tigers. From a total situation, it's been dropping nonstop. Yeah. Opened at 8.5. Within an hour and 40 minutes, it went to 8. 3 hours after that, went to 7.5. And at 8:50 this morning, it is now at 7. Alex Hills, what's happening, my man? And Robert Franklin on the last spot says Braves here. Braves batting 344, 909 OPS. Stroman will get better, but not here. CT Bay says Twins with Buxton are really good. Losses without keeping prices down for now. And LJ from H-Town says Detroit only averaging 2 runs on the road. Take the under. Let's move over to the cash flow in this Detroit, Minnesota spot. 4,892 tickets in. 36% of the tickets, 53% of the cash on the Detroit Tigers, 65% of tickets, 70% of cash on the over. Eduardo Rodriguez versus Chris Paddock. Rodriguez used to cold weather pitching and Paddock not. And Paddock's last start was good at the Royals. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 Ks, no walks. A much better performance for him. We did cash the first 5, fading him. And I have both stats against righties. I need to pull up Twins versus lefties, which I will in a second. Tigers versus righties, 214, 611 OPS, and Tigers bullpen being much, much better than the Twins bullpen thus far. Take it away here, Pete. Tigers, Twins.
Yeah, my numbers kind of like Detroit team total under and Minnesota first 5. My numbers do not like Rodriguez right now, and I'm an inch away from taking both of those. A little bit tough, but 3.5 juiced. Take it under, but then again, in the current environment, yeah, we're going to need a decent start from Paddock, which is not guaranteed. He's given up runs, but not home runs or walks, and he's going to have to settle down here. But my numbers like Detroit team total under and Minnesota first 5, and I think I might give both of those officially. I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. Why don't we read some comments? Maybe Jose Bouquet will chime in, and within the next 15 seconds, I'll make a decision on those.
The Twins first 5 is -130 at Bet365. Would you take them on the money line here? I guess you would, expecting a low volatility.
Yeah, definitely. I would be leaning, first 5 money line on the Twins and the Detroit team total under. You know what? I can. I'll do that. I'm looking at. Let me see. 130 at Heritage. What are we seeing at Pinnacle here? I'm just looking around. Jim, any comments coming in saying they agree or disagree? Oh, I'm seeing -127 at Pinnacle. I'll take that. Minnesota first 5 -127.
I'll tell you, Pete, I have nothing on this game, to be honest. I'm very familiar with both these pitchers, actually. Yeah. Eduardo has not been good, and I don't anticipate him to be very good. And truthfully, I'm very out on Chris Paddock. Honestly, I would lean towards an over here, but I don't like betting overs in this kind of climate anymore right now with these weird baseballs and all that stuff. So it's tough to say. I just don't believe in Paddock because this is similar to what Jimmy says about that goalie on the fucking Hurricanes, whatever his name is. The Padres were trying to ship Paddock all off season, and they got a good look at him for a while. and I didn't think they were really sold on him, and they shipped him out for whatever, and now he's on the Twins, and they think they can do better, and I just don't think if he's going to improve, I don't think it's going to be yet, and I think he's going to keep struggling. So I'm just a little trepidatious on Paddock. So I'm not a fan, but that's why I'm off this game, truthfully.
And you think that Erod could struggle on the road, first start on the road?
Yeah, I mean, probably. I'm not a big Erod guy. He wants to be your number 3 on the rotation. That's what he kind of is on this Tigers team. But I think that there's a drop off when a pitcher or someone leaves the Red Sox, because I think the Red Sox are so well coached. So I'm not betting on Erod. Jimmy, you saw me actively fade Erod against the Red Sox. So yeah, no, I don't believe in Eddie, to be honest. And a 7, normally I would be all over a 7. But I remember last year, all of our average over-unders was around 9.5, 10. And I don't remember if I put one in today for a 10. So I'm just off of it. I think baseball's being weird, and I don't believe in betting overs right now until the balls change in September or whenever it comes.
Look at Moosey Moose. He says, Paddock was my favorite pitcher, so I watched every, in all caps, start. His change is more effective because he was hitting his spots with his fastball. If he doesn't have it, that's a big, big problem. He says he have a decent start and then follow it up with a snowman. Wow, Moosey Moose. Okay, so if his fastball is effective, he'll be on, but huge, in all caps, question mark. Sounds like Moosey Moose is down on Paddock, but not going so far as to call for a bad start from him here. But he seems very, very nervous about anyone who bets on him having a decent start. Reading these comments, Jim?
I am. It just doesn't all correlate, unfortunately, for me to make a move. Rob Free saying it feels like this is a tough card for baseball today. It certainly does after breaking all these games now.
I had fewer pre-game bets pre-show bets than normal, for sure. All right, I won't take then the Detroit team total under. I'll just stick with the Minnesota first 5. Maybe if Paddock is off, Rodriguez is even more off. But all right,
so we have an official play from Pete.
Yes, first 5 minus 127 Minnesota, leaning Detroit team total under 3.5 minus 135. But I guess I'll hold off on that.
All right, Pete is in. Twins first 5 minus 127. Again, the money line has moved 5 cents towards the Tigers from the opening line, and the bigger bets have come in on the Tigers, and I will be staying off of this spot. Let's move on to 7:45 p.m. Eastern. New York Mets 13-5, 8-3 on the road at St. Louis Cardinals, 9-6, 3-2 at home Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. It was tough. Everything was so glorious last night, and then of course, capping will give you a little slap in the face, and that's what happened in the 9th inning for me. Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. Let's take a look at the weather first and foremost in St. Louis. First pitch, 61 Fahrenheit, 6.3 miles per hour, left to right across the diamond, and that dies down to 2.7 by the end of the game. So wind non-issue here. We'll go over to the line history in this Cards spot. Mets, Cards, Bassett versus Hicks. Mets and Bassett open up at minus 115. They go up to minus 120, back to minus 115, and they're at minus 120 right now. So a 5-cent move from the opening line at Bet365. This total opened up at 7.5. Yesterday it's at 5.02. At 10 at night, it moved to 7, and that 7 is juiced to the under right now. Juiced to the under. Bassett, last start, 6 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 homer, 6 Ks, 1 walk, and a 5-2 loss at home to the Giants. He did not look very good. Hicks, last start. Well, it's a bullpen. I mean, Hicks doesn't go deep in the game, so it's going to be a bullpen day for the Cards. Hicks went 3 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 Ks, 2 walks, and a 5-0 loss at the Marlins. He's thrown 7 innings this year. Mets versus righties, 266, 763 OPS. Cardinals versus righties, just 222, 614 OPS, where they're raking against lefties, not hitting righties. Mets bullpen, 3.54 or 3.45 ERA, 1.2 whip. 1.23 whip. Cardinals bullpen 2.67 ERA, 1.06 whip. Were lights out until they got touched yesterday in that 9th inning. That bothered me enormously. Let's just take one look at the cash and then hand it over to Pete. We have 4,879 tickets in. 72% of the tickets, 84% of the cash on Bassett and the Mets. 51% of tickets, 70% cash on the over. Mixed messages from the market and the cash. Take it away here, Pete. Mets Cardinals.
Yeah, I do think we're going to get a bounce back from Bassett. And Hicks, I think, will be very strong for 1 or 2 or 3 innings. So I'd definitely be leaning no run in the first inning and maybe the first 3 innings under as well, and maybe first 5 as well. Both of these teams are teams that I'm kind of high on right now, and I have been betting on and doing pretty well with them, and not necessarily looking to bet against either one. I was all over the Mets in that Arizona series. So this one, I don't really want to take the Mets. I don't want to fade St. Louis at home. I'm kind of high on both of these teams right now, so I don't really want to bet against either of these teams. But no run in the first inning, first 3 under, and or first 5 under, I think are all probably pretty decent.
Joe Yurkovich, whom we love dearly, has been with us for a long time. He's on the Mets minus 106. Moose Money's leaning to the first 5 under. Says really like both these guys. Hicks is getting extended slowly.
You know what? I'll make that. I'll make no run in the first inning official, and I'm seeing that at Pinnacle. I'll take that one minus 129. I'll take that.
No run first inning for Pete. There's Franco White in the house. Dabby Cap says, I want the Mets here, but haven't pulled the trigger yet. Bassett, 5.5 Ks at plus 125, says not trusting them to keep him past the 6th inning. Franco White liking that no run first inning. Hal Abraham saying Bassett was great that last 4 innings, the last start. The first 2 were terrible. And CD Bay says he thinks that Hicks maybe goes 4 today. Jay Peasy says Cardinals' most pathetic showing last night. I took them again to bounce back after that embarrassment. Joe Yurkovich says, I'm betting on the Mets until they lose 2 in a row. I started in the Arizona series. So Joe Yurkovich backing these Mets. Northander says, I had the under 6.5 in the game yesterday. Cashed my bet out 97% of my turn because I was scared of extra innings. Then it went over in the 9th. Wow, nice job. Nice job. Coin also on the Mets, minus 117 in his pocket. Okay, so Pete is on the no-run first inning in Mets Cardinals.
I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit concerned with the Cardinals bullpen, which is my main concern with this team. There's a lot to like about them, but I'm nervous about their bullpen. Their bullpen, I think, might regress negatively. Just keep that in mind.
And what are your thoughts on this total? That's just at 7. If you think that there's issues possibly with the bullpen, does that mean
the Mets middle relievers as well? The total, I haven't even. It's a total pass for me. It's a pass. But again, I like under early though. So first 5 under 3.5 is also tempting, but I think I'll just stick with the first inning. No run.
Tim Montana BX says good price Mets first 5 minus a half. What do you guys think about trying to get over this 7 here in Mets Cards? A review of that weather, which is a non-issue. 61 Fahrenheit at first pitch. Nathan Cerna says, take the Mets and thank me later, boys. If the chat could let me know what they think of this full game over 7, I'd be thankful. All right, let's move on. And the next spot on the board in Houston Astros, Texas Rangers is none other than Sweet taint here. First 5 under 5 in Astros, Texas Rangers, expecting a bounce back spot from Odorizzi and Taylor Hearn for that matter. Both did not look very good in their last start. Let's start with the idea. It's hard to get the information on Globe Life Field, whether the roof is open or closed. It's one of the stadiums that I find difficulty getting that information. Does anybody have expectations on whether the roof will be closed in this spot? I would like to know. I would
assume with the temperature around 70, it'll be open. If you're not opening the roof when it's 70 degrees, when are you?
Agreed. And 7.9 miles per hour and 5.9, 4.1. We do know it's open in Arizona, so possibly open here. And we have Michael Buelna on the Rangers money line. Okay, Astros, Rangers, Globe Life Field, Arlington, Texas. Let's start with the line history, and then we'll take a look at where the cash is in this spot. We have the Astros opening up as minus 115 favorites. They got up to minus 125 at 7:54 in the morning, but since then there's been a 15-cent move back to the Texas Rangers, and it is now back to a pick'em. From a total look, it opened up at 9 at 7:53 in the morning. It went to 9.5. It stayed there until an hour and 12 minutes ago when it moved back to 9, juice to the over. The cash flow in this Texas-Houston spot, we have 74% of the tickets, 75% of cash on Houston and Odorizzi, and then 50% of tickets, 77% of cash on the under, which would correlate with the taint here. Odorizzi last start, he only last 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 6 runs, 3 of which were in no homers, 2 Ks, 4 walks, and a 6-0 loss home to the Angels. 6 runs in the first inning. I had the over 8.5 and did not catch it. Ohtani was lights out. Taylor Hearn, 3 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 homers, 4 walks, 4 Ks, and this 8-6 win at the Mariners. Got a big upside. We haven't seen it yet from Taylor Hearn. Astros are hitting just 184, 605 OPS versus lefties. Forget the vividness bias of them smashing them. That is not the case right now, and Altuve's out of lineup. Rangers versus righties, 225, 86 OPS. Rangers aren't hitting righties. Astros aren't hitting lefties. Astros bullpen 3.14 ERA, 1.29 whip. Rangers bullpen 4.21 ERA, 1.35 whip. Take it away here, Pete. Taint is first 5 under. Bigger bets are coming in on the under. What do you want to do here, if anything? Astros, Rangers.
It's going to be a pass for me. I have big questions with both starters. As someone in the comment section, do they expect a bounce back from Odorizzi? Okay. I'm looking at him, and his periffs don't look good to me, but, I haven't done a super deep dive on him. And Hearn, also, I'm not sure what to expect from him. His first appearance this year was excellent, but, his last, dating back to last season, he's struggled in the majors. So it's going to be a pass for me. If you gave me a free bet, I'd probably take Texas.
Probably back Hearn and the Rangers. Wondering if Odorizzi's going to be back. So we have Keuchel and Odorizzi coming off starts where they didn't make it out or over through an inning. I guess Keuchel did make it through one inning, but both got destroyed. And it looks like the market is expecting both of them to have a much, much, much improved performance here. No action from Astros Rangers. Let's move to 9:38 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Guardians at Los Angeles Angels. Guardians 7-9, 4-6 on the road. Angels 10-7, 5-5 at home. We're at Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. Let's take a look at the weather there. First pitch, 68 Fahrenheit, is cool in LA. 8.4 miles per hour out to left center, then down 7.4, then down to 6.5. Tristan McKenzie, we know he has a very high upside, and he's had a good start to the year. 2.38 ERA, 1.06 whip, and 11 and a third, 11 Ks, 6 walks. In his last start, it was at home versus the White Sox, and a 2-1 win. He went 4 and a third, allowed 1 hit, 1 earned run, no homers, 4 Ks, and 4 walks. Going up against the lefty Patrick Sandoval, who's coming off a 7-2 win at Houston. Another situation where the Astros weren't hitting lefties. 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 5 Ks, 2 walks. The Guardians aren't hitting lefties either. 222, 655 OPS, while the Angels versus righties 242, 780 OPS. Guardians bullpen 3.63 ERA, 1.11 whip, while the Angels bullpen 4.18 ERA, 1.14 whip. Here we go. Angels, Guardians. We have the Guardians opening up at plus 130. It got up to plus 145. It's back at plus 140. So there's been a 10-cent move towards the Angels. From a total look, it opened up at 8.5. At 8:22, it moved to 8. And now it's at 7.5 and 7.5 at a pick'em. We go over to the cash in this spot. 44% of the tickets on Cleveland and 90% of the cash, just 5,523 tickets in, 90% of the cash. And yet the market's moving in the opposite direction, the market moving towards the Angels. Very interesting there. And then we have 65% tickets to the over, 51% cash, and the market moving towards the under. Wow. Moose Money says Guardians played in their fourth night game last night and have been horrible in them. And Trot Wam liking no-run first inning. Take it away here, Pete. 2 games left after this one, and then we get Trot Wam for NBA Wham Bam in the chat right now. Take it away here, Guardians, Angels.
This is an interesting one. I kind of like unders here as well. I've talked off camera to Jose Bouquet about McKenzie. I'm pretty high on McKenzie in general. When he has his control under control, he's pretty much lights out. He still struggles with control, which is tough to do. And it's not easy to have electric stuff and good control in the majors. And his durability might be an issue as well. but when he's on, he's great. And I like his attitude and the way that he talks about pitching. And so he struggles with control here and there, but when he's on, he's great. Sandoval has been, no question about it, excellent this year. A little bit better than I was expecting him to be. And I suspect that if his if his velocity creeps down to where it was last year, he'll start to suck, and he'll actually creep down towards mediocrity and maybe even suck. But that certainly hasn't been the case now. The flip side of this, though, is that Cleveland's offense is definitely regressing back to preseason expectations. They're not having the 10-run games like they were in the first week of the season. So, yeah, in general, I'd be leaning unders, whether no score in the first inning, first 3 under, or first 5 under, leaning Cleveland early plus a half run, maybe first 3 plus a half or first 5 plus a half. Haven't bet it yet. Maybe I'll give an official play on this one, but that's the way I'm thinking about this one. Lower scoring early and leaning towards Cleveland, getting a half run, either first 5 or first 3.
That's an interesting take. So just need McKenzie to shut down this.
Which I think he will. He had some control issues last start. Maybe it'll happen again. But before that, I suspect he'll be good. Not for 8 innings, but for, 3 or 4 innings, probably yes, I would guess.
That is a very interesting look. I'm curious to see what prices I would get on that, and then we'll move on. That's backing McKenzie early. And let's just go to the innings props here. If I wanted him first 3 innings just at money line, it's plus 110.
I'm seeing plus 115 at Will Hill. Plus a half would be minus 160.
And then first 5 plus a half is minus 130. Those are very interesting takes. Tim Montana says McKenzie will be solid for 3 innings.
Yeah. So, and Sandoval, I trust Sandoval short term. I don't trust him long term, but I also don't really like the Cleveland offense. So, tempting to take first 5 under at 4, tempting to take first 3 under at 2.5. Maybe Jose Bouquet. I hate that I'm leaning on him so much, but that's where the knowledge is. Maybe Jose Bouquet can enlighten us on Sandoval. I mean, his statistically, he's for real. He's experienced an uptick in velocity, which is impressive and real.
Well, let's bring Jose on and hear what he thinks about Patrick Sandoval in this spot. Jose, what are you thinking here in the Guardians Angels?
I think Patrick Sandoval is good at home. I would honestly lean to unders here again. Yeah, I'm sounding like Noli knows, but man cashes tickets, so I guess that's a good thing. I do like Patrick Sandoval. I'm going to double check because I'm pretty sure he has those road home splits that lean home, obviously. And like Pete said, Pete and I did talk about T-Mac this year. I do like him overall. He had some struggles, like you say, Jim. You like when a player goes down, gets a little like dirt under his nails, and comes back, comes hungry. By the way, Sandoval 3.77 at home in 90 innings pitch, 8 innings on the road, a 4.71. So a whole run, and opponents are batting 220 at home, rather 240 on the road. So I would lean towards the over here, but I definitely like T-Mac. I think he's definitely the better pitcher. The worry, of course, is the Angels against righties.
Yeah.
Cleveland right now, 15th, 101 weighted run created plus, and the Angels, or I should say Angels against lefties because Pablo's a lefty. Or no, sorry, I was right. I'm thinking Angels. I'm thinking Cleveland against lefties, Angels against righties. So yeah, it's they're 4th, 131. So yeah, I think if you're going to bet on a side here, I like the first 3 innings for sure. I don't have those on my book, but I've realized that first time through the order, these pitchers normally go through pretty unscathed, and you can hope for a run from the Guardians offense. I would definitely pick a money line or a plus a half so you can get a push if it goes 0-0 for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
First 5 under or first 3 under at 2. You know what? I'll take that, Jimmy Bag. I'm seeing it at Will Hill. First 3 innings under 2.5 minus 145. I'll take that.
All right. Pete is on the first 3 innings under 2.5. What was the juice?
Minus 145.
I'm pretty shocked that they'd give you a 140 or not a 145, a 2.5. I would expect it to be 1.5, to be honest.
Yeah, but we're getting it, so we'll see.
The 2.5 at Bet365 is at minus 160. I can build a 4 at minus 134 on the first 5 under. It's probably too much juice here.
You should have come to the Bodog life.
Yes. Betting with the credit is allows you to bet out of your tax bracket. But I hear what you are saying, and clearly, once the cash from the futures comes in, I will open up some of these opportunities, especially at Pinnacle. First 3 under 2.5 minus 145 for Pete and Jose giving us nice information on Patrick Sandoval's home road splits, and they both believe in Tristan McKenzie. By the way, TJ says don't like going up against Pete, but he's on the Angels first 5 minus a half here, and
I don't hate it just because in order for Cleveland to win, they got to get a run. I'm not sure how likely that is to happen.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, great breakdown here. I wonder if I move on that first 5 under 4. Time will tell, and I'll tweet out if I do. 9:40 p.m. We have 2 games left. 9:40 p.m. Eastern. LA Dodgers, Arizona Diamondbacks, Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. We got Wham Bam in studio, ready to rock in NBA. Tony Gonsolin going up against Zach Davies. Gonsolin 1-0, 0.69 ERA, 1.23 WHIP in 13 innings, and that WHIP is just from walks, not from hits. In his last start, 5-1 win at home over Atlanta. 6 innings, 1 hit, no run, 3 Ks and 3 walks. Zach Davies, though, on the other side, very questionable pitcher, and his changeup is all he has. Last start, he went 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 Ks, 3 walks, and 5-2 loss at home versus the Padres. He's got a 5.02 ERA, 1.33 WHIP, and 14 in the third. Dodgers rating 259, 780 OPS versus righties, while the Diamondbacks just 189, 614 OPS. Dodgers bullpen 2.07 ERA, 0.80 WHIP. Mally Mouse says fade Zach Davies. Dodgers run line over. Eric Jones on Dodgers run line. Liv Pick says cash on Dodgers run line last night. Don't mind going back to the well here. Fading Davies and the worst hitting team in the league right now. Diamondbacks bullpen 4.33 ERA, 1.39 WHIP. We know that the roof is open tonight, so let's take a look at the weather in Arizona. First pitch 94 Fahrenheit, 10 miles per hour is the wind left to right across the diamond. That dies down to 5 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the line history in this spot here. That is the Dodgers Diamondbacks. Dodgers opened up at minus 185. They initially went down to minus 180, but since then, all Dodgers, 30-cent move towards them. They're at minus 210. And from a total standpoint, it opened up at 9. At 10 o'clock at night, it moved to 9.5. And just less than an hour ago, it moved to 10. And let's see if the cash follows suit there. Here we go with the cash. We have 10,617 tickets in, 96% of tickets, 94% of cash on the Dodgers, 60% of tickets, 79% of cash on the under, and yet it's gone up to 10. Take it away here, Pete. Dodgers, Diamondbacks.
I've been betting on the Dodgers and betting against Arizona. Those are 2 of the good moves I've made this year and done well with it. My numbers at the current line would say be careful and take Arizona, but I think my numbers are wrong. I'm certainly not going to take Arizona. Haven't taken the Dodgers yet. Davies is tricky. He has, the eye test and some of his peripherals make you think that he's always vulnerable. He's actually pitched the Dodgers pretty well in his career. It's a massive underdog line. I'm not on this one yet, and probably as the line creeps up, I won't be on it. I hope everyone who took the Dodgers cashes. Pass for me.
Yeah, okay. Now, better numbers not expected against the Dodgers. Mookie doesn't hit him.
Yeah.
Muncy doesn't hit him. Will Smith doesn't hit him. Chris Taylor doesn't hit him. Then, Justin Turner does, and Cody Bellinger does. Gonsolin doesn't have great numbers against – he's got nice numbers against Peralta, but Ketel Marte gets after him. Nick Ahmed, Kelly Carson. Very interesting spot and a very, very public spot on the Dodgers. I have left a ton of money on the table, not backing the Dodgers at these big prices. Maybe I'm doing that again here. No move for either of us. Final game on the card, Oakland A's 9-8, 5-5 on the road at San Francisco Giants, 12-5, 4-2 at home. We're at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. I wonder if I'm leaving money on the table here. What are your feelings about Gonsolin? Do you have any concern of Tony Gonsolin going on the road?
Yeah. He's I expect him to regress negatively regress relative to how he's done so far. Yeah, I again, my numbers like Arizona. That doesn't mean I'm going to bet Arizona, and I definitely do not agree with my numbers all the time. So it's going to be a pass for me probably.
All right, Ronnie says, let's go Oakland. We're at Oracle Park, in San Francisco, California. We'll start with the weather and the swirling winds over at Oracle. First pitch, 54 Fahrenheit, 15 miles per hour out to right center. Goes down to 13.2, but it is a different type of wind there. It swirls. We go over to the line history in the final game on the board. There's been a big move towards the Giants, a huge move, and it happened immediately. Happened an hour and 40 minutes into this market being available. The Giants moved 35 cents. They went from minus 225 to minus 260. So a huge move towards Carlos Rodon, and this total goes from 7 to 6.5. 7 to 6.5. Let's see if the money agrees with that. All that 76% of tickets, 75% of cash on the Giants. Then 47% of tickets, 87% of cash on that under. Dalton Jeffries versus Carlos Rodon. Dalton coming off a nice start at home versus the Orioles. I thought he looked pretty good against the Jays too earlier in the year. Against the Orioles, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, wasn't earned, 5 Ks, no walks. Rodon has looked very good this year. 1.06 ERA, 0.82 whip in 17 innings, 29 strikeouts in those 17 innings, 6 walks. Last start was at the Mets, 5-2 win, 5 innings, 3 hits, 8 Ks, 2 walks. He looks lights out. A's are only hitting 202, 603 OPS versus lefties. Giants 246, 719 OPS versus righties. A's bullpen 2.98 ERA, 1.36 whip. Giants bullpen lights out, 1.65 ERA, 1.00 whip. Take it away here. Last game on the board, A's Giants.
Tough one. My numbers say Rodon is definitely the real deal. My numbers also say Oakland is the play here at this current line. Haven't bet it. I might bet it by first pitch. If you gave me a free play on it right now, I'd throw it on Oakland at the current line for sure. But that's about it.
Yes, a big line here favoring the Giants at minus 260. If you wanted the A's plus 1.5, you get that at minus 105.
Yeah.
So your expectations of Dalton Jeffries having a nice start here?
Yeah, my numbers like the spot for him, and
negative regression from Rodon.
Yeah, a little bit, but not. No, Rodon until he gets injured is I expect to be a top pitcher. Maybe Giants team total under, but no, it's going to be a pass for me as of right now, Jim. Again, a lot of my bets I make an hour or half an hour before first pitch.
Interesting. And then if we wanted a A's first 5 plus a half, you get that at plus 130. You get the A's first 5 plus 1 at barely a negative spot. Would that interest you at all? The first 5 plus 1 for the A's?
No. If I were going to take Oakland, I would take them full game.
All right. Billy Friedrich says exactly, Pete, until he gets injured. Joe Yeager said Rodon will be asked to go deep here. I think he will get the win at minus 110. And Mike M, Oakland A's plus 1.5 is the pimp slap play of the day. Oakland A's. Well, this was the trickiest card that I have broken down thus far this season. Let's go over the action, and I have very little action at this point, and Pete has some. The spreadsheet play of the day is Atlanta. The say-hey play of the day is the Brewers minus 1.5 at minus 102. Mariners Rays, no action for us. Pete is on the Phillies minus 1 at minus 112, and I'm coming with him. I will be moving on the Phillies as well. Orioles Yankees, no action for us. Chiefs on the Miami Washington, no run first inning at minus 118, and I do have some interest in that under 3.5. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on that. Red Sox, Jays, no action for us. And Royals, White Sox, no action. The Cubbies, Braves, nothing for us. Pete's on the Twins, first 5 at minus 127, backing Paddock. Then no run first inning for Pete in Mets, Cardinals. And I'm looking at that full game over 7 and wondering if I should move on it. Taint play today is Houston, Texas, first 5 under 5. In the Odorizzi Taylor Hearn spot. Pete's on the first 3 under 2.5 at minus 105 in Cleveland, LA. And I'm wondering whether I pay to make that the first 5 under 4. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, no action. Pimp slap play today is the Oakland A's plus 1.5. And that is your MLB breakdown. It's time to move on to NBA. And one bet last night for me, just $150. So just my regular unit size, but Raptors plus 275 on the money line. Pete, it was and I can't look, the win was glorious, but I can't get over what happened for me. So I was waiting. for the public to come in on the Sixers. Waiting and waiting and waiting. So it opened up at plus 290, went down to plus 260. We knew that Van Vliet wasn't going to be in. When he was announced not in, it moved to 275. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm still waiting. I got a poker game. I have to be at 8 p.m. I start driving towards the poker game. I keep checking every 5 minutes. Checking, still plus 275, plus 275. At 7:51, we know that the tip-off would be at 8:08. 7:51, I'm like, okay, I guess it's not moving. I pull over. I send the bet in at plus 275. In 5 minutes later, I get to the poker game and it's plus 310.
Wow. Yeah.
I just didn't wait long enough, and I can't make that mistake again. I have to wait till 8. I couldn't believe it, and I was livid. I was so angry. I actually had to walk it off a bit. I was just because it just made. I'd been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it pissed me off. But it was just the easiest, as easy as any cash gets. I was saying it. I was like, when we're down 3-0, I'm like, I've never seen a situation in the history of sports where one team's up 3-0 and you're like, they're not a good team. You can come back. You can come back against this team. I've never been, and look, I wasn't confident when we were down 3-0, but I was like, this is an above average basketball team in the Sixers. And it was a glorious cash yesterday. And the Raptors have just fed me cash over the last few days. It's been absolutely glorious. But it is time now to break down these NBA games. And we have just the man for the job coming to us from Los Angeles, California. Please welcome to the show, Wham Bam in the house. Wham, what's happening, my man?
What's up? I can't wait. Man, that's a great intro right there. Great story as well. Like, people don't understand, as far as the average person, they think we're just gambling addicts. They think we don't care. You know what I mean? They think we don't care. But we want to beat the bookie so fucking bad. It pissed my man off. He cashed the easiest, but he's still pissed off about it. I totally agree with that. And I feel good yesterday. Had the Celtics going against everybody. Scott Foster was with us. So what? He fouled out my guy, Jason Tatum. I feel good today as well. So I'm glad to be with this energy. And it's the best time of the week, man, Tuesday.
It is. And Pistol Pete Loshak last Tuesday swept the board. He went 5-0 to move into the black on the season. He had the Atlanta-Miami first quarter under 56.5 cash. Hawks first half plus 4.5 cash. Grizzlies first half minus 4 cash. Grizzlies first quarter over 32 cash. Minnesota-Memphis first quarter over 62 cash. 5-0 plus 5 units, and he's now plus 1.59 units on the year. A great job, Pistol Pete. Let's get right to work, Wham Bam, and let's pull up this first game on the board. So as we do on Tuesdays, I will set the table, hand it over to Pistol Pete, who will let us know what moves he's making, and then he will hand it over to you, Wham Bam. All right, let's go. East first round, game 5. Miami leading the series 3-1. Atlanta Hawks were 16-25 on the road during the regular season and now must win here to keep their season alive. The pace of the series, 94.75 possessions a game. Let's start with the market history, or the line history. Opened up with the Hawks plus 7 at minus 110 2 days ago at 9:35 p.m. It went up to 7.5 at midnight. At midnight this morning, it went to 7.5, and then at 9:30 in the morning, just 3 hours ago, 3.5, 4 hours ago, we had a 1 point move towards the Hawks. So they're now a 6.5 point dogs. From a totals look, it opened up at 218. It's now 217. So it's dropped a point. So let's just take a look and see if the cash goes with those market moves. We have 25,257 tickets in. The Sports Insight says the most line value here is on the Timberwolves, second Hawks. And those are the only two spots with line value. We have in this Hawk spot, 21% of the tickets are on the Hawks and 6% of the cash. Just 6. And it's moved. It's clearly moved to the Hawks in the last hour, which is strange. From a total look, 56% of tickets on the under, 68% cash on the under, and it's moved towards the under. 110-86 win in Atlanta to take a stranglehold 3-1 lead for these Heat. Jimmy Butler went for 36. We have close friends of ours, Razor Sharp Picks, Dennis Garcia, have futures on the Heat, and they're so lucky. And this was another situation for me where I was jealous of the lines that they got. And I remember I was talking to Razor about 4 months ago, and I was like, "What line did you get again?" I was looking at it, and I was like, "I can't take it here." But happy for our friends with the big tickets on the Heat. No Kyle Lowry in Game 4, hamstring strain. Gabe Vincent started 11 points, 4 boards, 3 assists. Victor Oladipo came in 6 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, but he was a plus 28. So that was the second best number on the court from Oladipo. And Butler goes for 36. I mean, Jimmy just steps up in a big way. But the big angle is Trae Young, 9 points in Game 4. He had 8 points in Game 1. So 2 times in this series, he's gone single digits, where he'd only done that once all year, I believe. Once all year. DeAndre Hunter went for 24 to try and keep something going for the Hawks. Let's start with Pistol Pete Loshak, fresh off a 5-0 Tuesday, Hawks Heat.
Yeah, all right. I've been focusing mostly on baseball and NHL, so I haven't done a deep dive into these 3 games today. But I'm just looking at this. I'm just like they just shut down the half court offense. They just don't have it, right? Atlanta, I don't think they have an answer. They looked so good in the regular season against, average teams when it was a long, drawn-out regular season. But here in the playoffs against an elite team with an elite half-court defense, they just can't do it. So I'm not sure what Atlanta is going to do here to change things up. And I don't know if it's a 5th game in a row where we want to go for it. But again, first quarter under, Miami's not going to change what they do, right? The games are starting out modestly paced. And what's the first quarter total? Was like 53 or something? I have no opinion as of right now. I want to hear your analysis of it. A lot of times as the playoff series get deeper and deeper, the games are either like, I don't know what's going to happen, or it's obvious what's going to happen. One team is obviously in a big bounce back spot.
Right.
This one, I don't know what's going to happen. It just seems like Atlanta doesn't have an answer for the Heat. And it seems like once again, we're going to see a modestly paced first quarter.
That first quarter is at 55.5.
All right. Why are we not taking under there? I mean, that's not rhetorical. I'm literally, why not?
Let's hear what Wham has to say. Wham, take it away, Hawks Heat.
Love the breakdowns because he's pretty much saying exactly how I feel about the game. I don't know if this is going to come out and be a Miami smack spot. Obviously, they're at home. They've been holding down the half-court defense like you did mention. They're holding this boy to 6 from 30. He only made 6 3-point makes for Trae Young for the series. They holding him down, and he's not even taking attempts. He's not even taking attempts now. Like he's thinking like, maybe the better play is to hurry up and pass it and just try to swing the ball around. It's just the guys around him. They're going getting that same type of defense on them too. So Bogey, I mean, obviously with him, I think it goes hand in hand with Trae. You got to look at Bogdanovich as well. Like, man, like what are you doing? You need to be that guy that help out. You're that next guy that's getting paid. You know what I'm saying? So you need to be the next guy that's getting up there. Ewing and Collins. Collins is in a blender. Those two. The thing is, like you mentioned, though, the line movement, it does kind of concern me as far as them getting a little love. I still see 7s for the Heat. I think the Heat respect is there, and it's giving me the same feeling that the Boston Celtics is. Like, I just know they're the better team. I know they're going to be able to win this game, and I should just take the Heat. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that simple for me. Like, I believe like it could be one of those clear-cut games that it's obvious that they're trying to move on to the next round, get some extra rest, and look into gearing for another war. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Heat close it out today at the house and win by margin, double digits. Because you already know in these type of games, in these closeout games, it really is about the mental in the players that they're going up against that's getting blown out. If the Heat, who's shown that they can play this type of defense, all this stuff throughout, I wouldn't be surprised if the morality starts to get a little low on the Hawks side. So I think the Heat does win by margin. I haven't bet this game, but I did want to wait to talk to you guys about it. I think the more talking about it, I need to be on the Heat.
What a strange 1-point move to the Hawks that we just witnessed. By the way, I took the Mavericks plus 100 last night. I know it was just like one of those spots where public's going to be all over it. It seems like a blatant play, but it's already moved 25 cents. So it's minus 125 now, and I got them at plus 100. That makes me feel good. Raptors haven't moved, still at plus 105. What do you think, Pete? First quarter under is backed by, I believe it was Luchase Fox, our guy out in Houston, liking it. First quarter under.
It's super obvious, but during the regular season, I was staying off of Memphis first quarter overs because they were super obvious, but they were winning. So then I went on them, and they continued to win. And then the playoffs, I did it, and I continued to win. So if this one loses, okay, I'll eat the loss, but I'll make that official. First quarter under 55.5 minus 115. That's the line all over the place.
Yeah, I see 56 at Bovada. 56 at Bovada minus 115.
Oh, there you go. Hell yeah. Thank you. Trot Wam 56 minus 115. And as far as the spread is concerned, I don't know. It's just like Miami's clearly way better. But, I mean, Atlanta's going to do something, and they're going to claw and fight and be pissed. And I don't know. If you gave me a free play on the side, I would probably take Atlanta. Just, I don't know. You know, it's hard for me to – they're obviously way better. But Atlanta's got to be as salty as they can possibly be as a team right now, you know?
Yeah, you would think so, but they ain't been scoring, bro.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's the problem. You know, if they're not scoring, their defense is not going to help either because Jimmy Butler, I mean, and that's the crazy thing about it, too. Like, Tyler Herro's been playing really bad. He hasn't been showing up that much in this series. And, I mean, he's averaging 16 points, but those 16 points don't really mean nothing when you're not really getting in double digits in some games. So, I think that they could really have a good game today. I like the Heat minus 7. You know, you can make that official, bro. I'm gonna take the Heat minus 7.
We can get you
minus
6.5.
Yeah, if we get 6.5, I'll take that.
So this total opens up. This first quarter total opens up bet 365 at 3:39 a.m. at 55.5. And the first move is towards the over. Moves to 56 at 9:20 this morning, and now it's a 5-cent move to the under as of 30 minutes ago. But that is interesting. And surprising. Michael Buelna says, don't let the line move and scare you off. Heat minus 4 first half, full game minus 7. It is not scaring our guy Wham Bam, and
not
he's
at all.
on the Heat minus 6.5. Let's see what we can get him here and see if we can get him something nice. We're gonna go to full game and minus 6.5 minus 114 at Pinnacle. I'm gonna pull up Circa and see if Circa can beat it. At this point, I said, you know, you guys know I've got the Mavericks futures, and obviously it looked a little bit dangerous when Luka went down. But I said that I know how I'm going to end up in a really nice spot. And it was just don't do anything but take the Raptors money line each game. After Scotty went down in game 1, I didn't bet them money line game 2. I did bet them again money line game 3. But game 4 and 5 were nice big wins for me. I'm already on the Mavs and Raptors on Thursday. And I don't know if I'm going to do more than that, in all honesty, because, you know, when you think you got an edge, I want to just only use that edge. And when the money starts coming in, you're like, of course it's coming in. And I don't want to risk it right now. Minus 6.5 and minus 109 at Circa. So let's give Wham that minus 6.5 at minus.
Appreciate you, bro.
9.
Appreciate that.
Dennis Garcia says Miami Dallas would be a wet dream. It's been a long time since I've had one. So sad. So sad. Okay.
That was personal.
Just dust is coming out these days.
Oh, damn.
Okay, let's move on. We have Wham on the Heat minus 6.5 at minus 109, and first quarter under 56 at minus 115. I remember the first time my friend, we had a guy who we grew up with who was raised on a sailboat. So he started his regular education in grade 6. So he was 2 years older than us, but he was in our grade. And he was like, he started driving when we were 14, and he protected us on the shit. And one day we're smoking a bat in the back of my house, and in front of like a bunch of my friends. He's like, have you had a wet dream before? And I didn't know whether I should have had one or not. I didn't know what the right answer was, and so then the worst thing, I don't say anything because I'm like, I don't know, like which they're probably gonna make fun of me either way, but I don't know if I should be having nonstop wet dreams or I should have no wet dreams, and I wouldn't tell them, and then they just laid into me for years. Okay, let's get back to work here. Minnesota Timberwolves 46-36, 20-21 on the road at the Memphis Grizzlies, 56-26, 30-11 at home. FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. Series pace 102.38 possessions a game. It has dropped very quickly since the beginning. That was at like 106.5 possessions a game. It's just been dropping. And we had cappers tell us to move on the under in this spot, and I didn't, and we've seen it cash. Now, it didn't cash in the last game to tie it up at 2, 119-118 win on Saturday for these Timberwolves. And don't forget, Dennis Garcia had the Timberwolves plus 300 to win this series. Lucia says, hold Jimmy Dry Sheets bag. Okay, let's go.
Damn.
Better than grilled cheese. I did have a grilled cheese yesterday, and I felt like I can't even order it. I was like, I didn't even want to say it.
Hold on. He was like, I don't want a grilled cheese today. So you just ashamed of your.
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed now of ordering grilled cheese from all the heat that I've taken over the last little while. Okay, let's look at line history here very quickly. We have the Minnesota Timberwolves open up as 7.5-point dogs. So this line came out at 1:35 in the morning on Sunday. Within an hour and a half, it moved to 7. 9:40 that morning. So 6 hours later, it moves to 6.5. Then to 6. Moves back to 6.5. Now it's still at 6. So it's moved a 1.5 since its opening. This total opened up at 232.5. It initially went up to 233, and then it's been dropping to 231.5. So let's see if the cash follows suit there. This is the spot where Sports Insight has the most line value in the Timberwolves. 42% of the tickets on the Timberwolves, just 34% of the cash. Then we have 53% of the tickets on the over and 44% of cash on the over. Cat 33 points, 14 boards. McLaughlin gets on the floor, goes 4 for 4 from 3. Some really funny quotes from the Wolves coach about why he wasn't in the lineup. Just saying sometimes he's an idiot and things like that, because Jordan looked very good. So the question all comes down to Ja, and he is feeding everybody. He gets 15 assists in the last game, but he's not scoring. And 11 points on 4 of 13 shooting. And then the first thing when he talks about how he's still dealing with a soreness from a knee injury, my first thought, Michael Jordan wouldn't have said that. It's just the first thing that comes in my head right away. I'm like, Michael Jordan wouldn't tell people his knee's hurting, But Ja is showing weakness here. Desmond Bane goes for 34. Take it away here. Pistol Pete, Loshak, Minnesota, Memphis.
Yeah. While you guys were talking about wet dreams and shit, I'm out here working, trying to get information about Ja Morant. It seems like his health is like the whole issue here, because when I look at this game, my first thought is like, again, NBA playoffs, when you have one of these teams that's like, off a loss as a big favorite, they're usually a good bet in that next game. You're like, they just lost. Now they're a big favorite in the next game, and the answer is yes, and they're a good bet at that line. I don't love the fact that the line has gone down. I don't love the fact that the line value supposedly is on Minnesota, and mostly I'm worried that Morant is more injured than he is letting on. But my first thought when I see this situation is to take Memphis -6, and then just like last week, my second thought is, well, if I like Memphis, then that means first quarter over and first quarter team total over, because when they win, that's how they do it. That's my take on this game, guys. I'm confused, though.
That's interesting. That's an interesting thought process as well, because Memphis, after a loss, they're 18-9 against the spread this year. So they have been performing in that spot. I really think that it's all about, like you mentioned, Jimmy, and Pete, Ja Morant. It's all up to him. Is he going to be able to score in the paint or not? Because once he gets there, someone's always there to meet the contact. They have athletic guys that's jumping at him. You know what I mean? So I think that he probably has a pretty good game. That fact that it's just at the house, I believe that he will have a better game. But to me, I just believe that the line is just a little too much from what we've seen so far for Minnesota. I think Minnesota has been covering, almost every game. I believe every game so far. Every first half at least. Every first half they covered 4-1 in the first half, including the post play in there. So I think maybe the first half look is pretty good for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I know it's been hitting, and people may be thinking it's it's easy money right now, because it's been hitting in the first quarter, first half. They've been doing that, just like the first, like you mentioned earlier about the first quarter over as well. Like I think that can continue to hit as well. I really want to go back to the well with the team total over with Memphis in the first quarter, because I just have to believe that they're going to play a little bit better at home after just losing the game. You know what I mean? It just seems like that makes the most sense. That's the obvious look here is the team total over for Memphis in the first quarter. I just think that maybe the full game Timberwolves, just for them to be competitive, it could be that way. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention about the fouls and what I expect to happen if Ja Morant isn't attacking those paint, and they are jumping at them, like I was saying, and some of those calls weren't made. I think those calls probably are going to get made today. So that's kind of what's getting me scared off or taking me off the Timberwolves, just because I think if they're getting those calls after they made that little comment, the -6 might be cool. But I just think it's just too much points for me to just jump over here in this spot, because what I've seen so far is, the eye test is telling me that these guys, they match up pretty well with the Grizzlies. And, calls are calls. I understand, like, some calls get called. But at the same time, like, if I'm looking at the actual game and for those guys that they've been able to pick up, and like you said, it's funny as hell. Like, he's just a jackass. Jordan's just a jackass. So now he could play a little bit more because he's in line here. You know what I mean? But I think that shows that, these guys probably are a little bit more together than we think, as far as having that issue with Cat early on. I think D'Angelo Russell goes over his points. If I'm not mistaken, his points are set at 16.5 points. I haven't made that official bet. That's something I'm looking into as far as the props. I think D'Lo continues to play well. That's the reason why I'm leaning towards the Timberwolves, because once he plays well, they're a better team, because you're going to get consistency from Cat and Anthony Edwards. I believe that the Grizzlies, though, may get the call. So it's kind of scaring me away from the game. I haven't bet this game, but that's the way I'm thinking. I'm thinking Grizzlies win this game, maybe Minnesota covers, and D'Angelo Russell goes over to 16.5 points.
Interesting. I was the only person, I think, that had a bet on the Grizzlies that lost in game 2. I had the Grizzlies first quarter, but I would like to go right back to that Grizzlies first quarter. Well, I think they feed off the crowd, and I think that they throw the first punch in this basketball game. And I'm leaning towards making that a move here. Let's go around and see who wants to make what official. Brothers and Bets in the house. Brothers and Bets. Oh, we just lost Wham Bam. I'm sure he'll be back shortly. But shout out to Brothers and Bets. Been loving his content and would love to get him on, both of them on the show here. Brothers and Bets ready to rock here. Schnizzle says, I think this is too many points. I lean T-Wolves. These teams match up fairly well, in my opinion. Rob Free looking at Jared Jackson props. And by the way, Razor Sharp is locked in one bet. That's Heat -3.5. Let's start with Pistol Pete Loshak. What are you, if any, making official here after your 5-0 spectacular?
I don't know. Is Morant okay? Basically 100%? What do you think?
No.
Not even close.
I don't know about not even close, but he's not 100% in my estimation.
Yeah, I mean, who is, though?
How did they get the 30-point win in game 2 then?
They just fed off the crowd, and they were an angry group, and they just, both of these teams have at times started running downhill on the opposition. We've seen the Wolves do it. We've seen the Wolves take a huge lead and watch the Grizzlies come right back and take over. I mean, momentum is a real thing in this series.
All right, you can give me Memphis -6, -107, current line at Pinnacle. You can give me that.
All right, you don't sound pleased.
No, I am very nervous. Memphis -6, -107. You can give me that.
Grizzlies.
I like Desmond Bain too.
07 for Pete. What are you making official here, Wham Bam?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be mostly on props here. I think D'Angelo Russell over 16.5 points and Desmond Bain over 20.5 points. They make the most sense here. But I'm not going to make those official just yet because I haven't bet those yet. But I did lock in at Miami -6.5, so I appreciate you, bro.
Okay, and then I'm close to moving on the Grizz first quarter to come out angry at home. Okay, and by the way, Dennis Garcia is on the Timberwolves money line. Timberwolves money line,
Wow.
and if you bet that every game in this series, you're laughing, much like I have been laughing at the Sixers. All right, let's move on to 10 p.m. Eastern. Game 5, Pelicanos at the Phoenix Suns. Pelicans 36-46, 17-24. Oh, God, I just want to keep laughing at those fucking Sixers. The Suns 64-18, 32-9 at home. We're at the Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Pace in this one, 94.63 possessions a game. 94.63 possessions a game. Let's talk about the line history here. In this spot, we have the Pelicans opening up as 6.5-point dogs. That was, almost 40 hours ago. No movement whatsoever. We go to the total. It opened up at 215.5 and is now at 214.5. Let's see if the money cooperates with all this. 18,687 tickets in. 40% of the tickets, 53% of cash on the Phoenix Suns. 57% of tickets, 53% of cash on the over. Sort of coin flip situations. Pelicans big 118-103 win against the Suns on Sunday night. And CJ McCollum 18 points, 9 boards, and he's just I guess you got to start with Brandon Ingram, but I love the way McCollum's been playing. Ingram 30 points. He's the first Pelicans player to score 30 points in 3 consecutive playoff games. JV career high 26 points and 15 boards, and Chris Paul 4 points, and didn't get to the line once. The Pelicans out-rebounded Phoenix 48-39. That's the 4th straight. So they've out-rebounded them in every game this series. And it's a big difference maker. And this playoffs has been so much fun, so much wild shit. And this is no different. No different. This is just so exciting. Take it away, Pete. You're first up. Pelicans, Suns.
I don't know. Here we go again, right? Phoenix off a loss as the same level of favorite. Why would we not like them here? They were, during the regular season, a great three-point shooting team, and then all of a sudden they can't hit anything. The question is, did they just get unlucky, or is New Orleans D'ing up against them in a way that that is likely to continue? I'm not exactly sure. This one, I might have a play on this one, but as of right now, I'm very confused. I have to assume that Phoenix will have a better game. I have to assume that Jay Crowder will have a better game. So maybe player props on him to have a good game might be worth it. Might be worth a look. Got to think that that Phoenix is going to shoot better from 3 and probably get a win and cover. But I don't really know. What do you think, Trot Wam?
Yeah, the Jay Crowder thing is kind of weird, man. It's like, it was funny when he had the 1-1-1 game. But now it's like, just, hey man, where you at, man? We need you here. But I think the wing defending, I think the and it's funny because we just talked about the Cupcake series. John Morant and Kat's dad is hanging out on the court side. This one, they trying to get in the parking lot. Brandon Ingram trying to get in the parking lot with CP3. You know what I mean? It's just total different type of mentalities here in these type of battles here. And I think this battle is going to be epic, man. You got the coach, Willie Green. Seems like you figured it out. I mean, as much as I didn't want to believe it, our guy Jay Money said it from the beginning when we capped this series. He said from the beginning, like, this looked like Jay Money. This looked like Willie Green's chance to show that he's a real good coach and beat out maybe the coach of the year here. So I think that I think Willie Green showed that type of level of competence on the defensive side of this. And you got to key in on who's been able to eat. The only people that's been able to eat is Chris Paul at times, and DeAndre Ayton's been consistent, honestly. So I like DeAndre Ayton. That's going to be an official play for me on this show. It's going to be DeAndre Ayton over 20.5. I think we're getting that -120, if I'm not mistaken, but over 20.5 points. He's averaging 20.5 points. You know what I mean? But he's shooting really good, shooting really well in this series. So I think he has a favorable matchup in Big Val. Big Val is doing everything on offense. All his energy is coming out on offense. He doesn't really have that much time to do on defense. I think that's the key for this Suns team, especially without Booker's. You're gonna need Ayton to win, and I'd rather take Ayton points rather than taking Phoenix full game, just because I'm giving a little bit more respect to Willie Green and his game plan. You know what I mean? I think that this is a better spot for the Suns, like you mentioned, Pete. I think this is a bounce back spot for the Suns, like we never seen it, of course. Especially if them being at the house. I was there in the playoffs against the Lakers. shit is crazy out there. Them people out there, they crazy. You know what I mean? This is around the Suns and Ford, dude. They really vibing out there. So I'll expect that crowd to be there and push this over the total as well. Like I think this will be more of a scoring affair for both teams. I think the total maybe a little low, even though the defense is going to be there for both teams. I just think that they're going to have to score in order to win. So I like the over. I like the over in points though for DeAndre Ayton over 20.5. That's going to be an official play for me.
Ayton over 20.5 points minus 120. Willie Green's speech or whatever you call it to the team when they were down double digits to the Clippers with 5 or 6 minutes left. I was sold. We saw the camera went right into the huddle and he was like, he was like not negative, but he was like, this is what we worked all year for, this moment right here. I was like, and then they went off. I was like, oh my God, that's just, he's a phenomenal coach. And he said he did everything he said, I thought was just perfect. And then watching his team explode there was just so much fun to watch, unless you're a Clipper fan, obviously. Ayton over 20.5 points at minus 120. Pete, by the way, our guy Rez Mob says alpha time, Suns trifecta. First quarter, first half, full game. See you with the window, fellas. I had the honor of hanging out with Rez Mob down in San Antonio. What a guy. Class act and very skilled capper. Alpha time, Suns trifecta. Pistol Pete, what interests you here?
I don't know, man. I think I'm going to have to pass on this one. I mean, Phoenix is a big bounce back spot for them. They'll probably get the calls, but I just don't want to fade the Pelicans of Willie Green. I think I'm similar to like Atlanta and Miami. I think that maybe their ability to shut down Phoenix from deep is at least partially fundamental, and I don't want to bet against that, especially as a dog. I'm going to have to pass for me. I hope you all cash.
A pass. I don't have action. Again, I'm simplifying things, and it's kind of, I mean, I don't know how to look at it, but this is I'm only up 5.8 units on the year. It's my high water mark. It's the highest I've been all year. I started losing right away this season and kept losing, and so it's I love what's going on with the Raptors and Mavericks here. I'm leaning towards Grizzlies first quarter. If I do want the Pelicans, which I especially with Rez Mob really thinking that, I mean, you have to think Chris Paul steps up in this situation, especially after a dismal performance. I mean, this is where he steps up. He's a very calm guy, and in the shitting the bed in Game 4, I don't think it's going to affect them. But I can't wait to watch this, and we all love Jonas Valanciunas up here. And Harold Williams liking that Ayton prop too. Okay, so let's review action here in NBA. Heat Hawks. First quarter under 56 at minus 115 for Pete, and the Heat minus 6.5 for Wham Bam. We also had Razor Sharp Picks give us his lone spot. Oh, by the way, Billy Frieder, Pels team total over 104.5 is smash spot, averaging 114 points per game, 118 points per game last 3 in the series. In 4 regular season games, Pels averaged 110.5. So there you go. I thought I copied and pasted Razor Sharp's look, his $300 bet. Somehow I didn't. Razor, could you hit us with that again? I don't know how I was sure I did that. By the way, LJ from H-Town, Miami will close out the boys tonight. Team total over 111, and Trae Young under 8.5 assists. Under 8.5 assists. Oh, Heat first half minus 3.5. Thank you, Leonard. Yeah, so that's the big spot from our guy Razor. Heat first half minus 3.5. Then Pete's on the Grizzlies minus 6 at minus 107. I think I'm going to move on the Grizzlies first quarter at minus 2. And then Ayton prop over 20.5 points in Pelicans, Phoenix Suns. And there you have it. There is our show. All 31 games on today's card broken down and beaten up. Wham Bam, it is great to see you. We love these Tuesdays with you, my man. Catch Wham Bam in a little over an hour and a half at NBA Pub Hub, and follow him on Twitter at Trot Wam Wam. Any last words for these cappers supporting the show, my guy?
Man, y'all already know it's legendary chat in there, legendary panel. Appreciate you guys. Always love, man. Get this cash, Leche.
Let's get this cash. There he is, Wham Bam in the house. All right, let's review action in NHL. And we start with our guy Slatsy. Slatsy in NHL. He's on the Rangers money line, as are we. He's on the Canucks team total over 3.5. Senators money line, which is something I stayed off, and I might be leaving money on the table on that. Blues money line plus 140. I'm with him there. And Preds Flames over 6. By the way, Dan Vladar is going to be in net for the Flames, and I wonder if that's moved the Predators spot. They were plus 120 available, and now they're still plus 120. God, it makes me want to back them. Red Girl slap that ass play of the day is the under 6 in Florida, Boston. That was available, or under 6.5, excuse me. That was available at plus 110. It still is. I do find that play very interesting and appealing. Then Devils Senators, we've stayed off. Do you think that's a mistake, Pete, that we've stayed off Devils Senators?
Yeah, it's in my little quote parentheses lean here. Ottawa -1 plus 120. I mean, again, it's just like, New Jersey was terrible recently, but then before that they were okay on the road. Who the hell is in that lineup now? Is New Jersey a decent team, or are they just like forget about it? I mean, they beat in April 18th, 8 days ago, they went into Vegas as a plus 280 dog and won outright. Yeah. Shootout loss at Seattle. Hung with Colorado 3-1 on the road. Blasted Arizona 6-2. Went into Dallas, pounded them 3-1 as a plus 200 dog. Who are those guys are all going to be on the ice tonight, right?
Well, we expect Hischier. I expect Hischier to be back. The question is, will he be? I don't have the confirmation, but I expect Hischier to be back. And Sharon Govich and Hischier have been very good together. They don't have Hughes, but I guess I'm okay staying off. I guess I'm okay.
I mean, look at that. You got a team that's just been shit the bed at home 3 games in a row. But before that, they had an excellent road trip. Now they're going on the road as a dog. Yeah, I don't want to bet against that, really, even at the end of the year.
Columbus, Tampa are both, or we're off of that spot. Pete's on the Rangers -1 at plus 150, and the team total over 2.5 -140. I got that -1 on the Rangers, so I think plus 143. The under 6.5 in Edmonton, Pittsburgh, I'm going to put a couple question marks beside it. I don't know if I want it. Then Isles, team total over 2.5 for Pete at plus 113. Isles first period plus 146. I'm definitely off that spot. The Red Wings double up spot, team total over 2.5, Red Wings plus 2. I still like it, even though there was an important note that there is some meaning to the Leafs. They're 1 point away from securing home ice, which I expect they'll get anyways. The Predators plus 120, I'm going to move on. I'm going to think that Vladar gets touched here. The Coyotes plus 2 with all these injuries, I don't think I can do it, but it would be my only look. Vegas, Dallas, I'm off, but very interested. I need 3 points from Dallas over these last 3 games. The last 2 games are very easy for them, but they can take care of business right here. And then Blues plus 145 is what I'm on. Pete's on the Blues team total over -135. I wonder if that has changed at all. I would like to see if it has. And make me feel good if it has. It is not. It's still there. Makes me a little nervous. I'm on the Canucks -1.5 at plus 115 with confidence. And that's moved to 125. I think I'm moving on the team total over 3.5. Then Sharks -1. I am on. Pete brought up some really good points about the Ducks playing the Sharks tough. But I was so confident. Like, I'm telling you, the difference in NHL for me last night, I couldn't have been more confident in that Sharks Blackhawks game. I was just certain the Sharks -1 and they won 4-1.
Oh, yeah, I was on that one.
But I just feel like the Sharks are playing good hockey right now. But the points you made were salient, and I'm not nearly as confident in this one as I was in the other one. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today in MLB Atlanta. I enjoyed capping this MLB card enormously, but it was very tough. Say hey play today's Brewers -1.5 at -102. We stayed off Padres, Reds, and Mariners, Rays. We've seen the big market move towards the Rays. Pete's on the Phillies -1, -112. I'm coming with them on that. Orioles, Yankees, we've stayed off. Chiefs on the Miami, Washington, no run first inning -118. I have some interest in that first 5 under 3.5. I'm not sure if I'll pull the trigger on. Probably not. Red Sox, Jays, we've stayed off, as we have with Royals, White Sox. The spreadsheet play today in all 3 sports: Sharks, Braves, Suns. Cubs, Braves, we've stayed off. Pete's on the Twins, first 5 -127. Pete's on no run, first inning -129 in Mets, Cardinals. I have interest in that full game over 7. Taint play of the day, Houston, Texas, first 5 under 5. Pete's on the first 3 under 2.5 in Cleveland, LA. I'm interested in that first 5 under 4. I'll have to see how expensive it is. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, we are off. The pimp slap play of the day is the A's plus 1.5 in Oakland, San Francisco. And that does it. Pete, spectacular job, man. These are long shows. They're going to get easier for us when the playoffs come in NHL. But you're a class act and you handle it so well.
Oh, there's a lot of it now. Put yourself out there all the time. You know what I mean? Man, these picks, these bets. You got all my bets, right? On NHL. Florida -1, Rangers -1, Rangers over, Isles first period, St. Louis over, and Seattle, Vancouver over 5.5 -145, right?
I do have all of your bets. For some reason, I don't think I mentioned your -1 to plus 145 in the past. I was too anytime. Whenever we hear the slap that ass play of the day, it kind of just sticks in my head. And I don't think
I mean, people like being transparent and honest. First of all, you get slammed when you have a bad day. Second of all, people don't even think about it. All the time you have to spend keeping track of the records. I mean, if you're lying, you can keep shitty records. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. Tracking my NHL record has just been the saddest shit. It's just been so sad. I thank God for this run because thank God for the run. I'll just leave it at that. What a treat it is to work with you every Tuesday, Pete. Look forward to it again next Tuesday. And next week is Kentucky Derby week. Ooh-wee. On behalf of all of us here at Pop Sports Radio, thank you guys so much for your support. We have big shows today in an hour and a half NBA Pub Hub. In 40 minutes, we have prize picks with our guy Sharpie. Sharpie prize picks at 3:10. And Sharpie will be back in action here on the show on Thursday. We have Big Ragu on Wednesday, Babano on Friday. And then we have NBA Pub Hub at 4 o'clock. And then we have Say Hey Plays with your guest, the Big Ragu. That's going to be a great show. And this is such a fascinating baseball card. I can't wait to watch them break it down. That's at 5:30 p.m. and Jose running hot. Jose also doing such a great job producing the show. Thank you, Jose. And thank you guys all. Top Set, who's on Guardians full game. Mark Schillingberg adding that Miami first half -3.5. Dave Burke in the house. If you ever want to see Berkey and you're in the Toronto area, he hosts every amateur night at Yuck Yucks Toronto, every single one. And you know who was on, by the way, Loshak, just a few weeks ago? None other than Sonny Vega was graced the stage at Yuck Yucks.
Oh, yeah?
Sonny Vega went on and he's working out his stand-up
Very
act
nice.
right now. AOD, we love you, my man Leonard Porsche Jr., Lou Chase Fox, North Ender, Razor Sharp Picks, Mike M, LJ from H-Town. We are working on getting LJ from H-Town all set up because LJ from H-Town, Brothers and Bets, there's a lot of new voices that we want to support here at Pop Sports Radio, and those are 2 of them, so you're going to see more of them. Eric Jones, Mally Mal, Max Swelly says Mavs at +1.5 are a steal. They are no longer at +1.5, by the way. I did get them at +100. They are now -1.5 and -125 over here at Bet365. Billy Friedrich, Brothers and Bets, Dennis Garcia, Lit Picks, Bailey's on the Wolves, Wolves on the spread, Pelicans money line, the under 58 in the first quarter. Wow, I bought it up to 58, getting paid there. Thank you guys. And our special guest, Trot Wam. Pistol Pete, any last words before we put a bow on this?
No, not really. Just shout out to everyone. I'm talking. Oh, yeah. One more. I want to end the show. Personal shout out to a guy who's always given me a lot of kind words and support over the years, Leonard Porsche Jr., George in Vegas. Shout out to you. I dedicate my entire picks card of this show to you. Shout out to you, Leonard Porsche Jr., George in Vegas. Hell yeah.
I love that. Roll that shit, light that shit, smoke it, and leche. Hey, those bookmakers!